Welcome to Infinite Novel Audio. Like, subscribe, and enjoy this video. Chapter 26. Another thing that doesn't belong to Douluo. Yinhao looked at the prodigal masterpiece in front of him, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and then he let out another cry. Divine power. This time, the place where the space is distorted is no longer the front, but where Yinhao is. With a wave of space fluctuation, Yinhao disappeared instantly and appeared in a special space. Is this the Shenwei space? Yinhao glanced around, but there was nothing around. Just glanced twice. Yinhao lost interest. Sure enough, one attack and one defense, 2 divine powers, my favorite kaleidoscope skill. System, open the properties panel. The system panel is open. Host, Yinhao. Martial spirit, the first martial spirit. Blue Silver Emperor, second martial spirit. Sharing and kaleidoscopic. Soul power, level 35. Soul ring, first martial soul. Purple 1000 years, purple 100 years, purple 300 years. Second martial spirit, black 5 years, black 5 years. Soul bone, external soul bone, ice dragon armor, can grow. Bloodline, blue silver emperor bloodline, 41%, awakened. Assets, golden soul coin 10,520. Originally, Yinhao's soul power only reached level 31 after absorbing the soul ring of Chuantan Bingjiao, but after fusing the 2 10,000-year soul rings of kaleidoscope Sharingen, Yinhao's strength was directly raised to level 35. It is also a good harvest. Yinhao glanced at the property again. During more than 4 years of busy work, he has earned a total of less than 20 gold soul coins. He spent yuan in exchange for the 3 gaoyu, and another yuan in killing the Xuantan Ice Zhao. Wu bought a soul bomb. I spent another 10 or 20,000 on other miscellaneous expenses in life, and now I only have a little over 10,000 left. I don't even look at other time travelers. In terms of cultivation, they are born at level, and in terms of making money, all of them are rich, enemy country. Hey, I'm sorry I've embarrassed the traveler. Junior brother, junior brother. At this time, a clear female voice came, and then the little fox Huliana walked in with her head tilted. Senior brother. Huliana called again, but there was still no response. Huliana looked around the empty yard strangely, then raised her legs and walked into the house. Are you looking for me, senior sister? Suddenly feeling a wave of heat coming from her neck, Huliana's hairs stood on end immediately, and she was so frightened that she hurriedly ran 2 steps forward and assumed a fighting posture. But as soon as she opened the distance, she saw Yin Heizheng looking at Huliana with a smile on his face. It was just a small test. He had basically determined that Huliana's strength was not strong, or not stronger than her own, and she was only a senior soul sect. Look like. But what Yinhao couldn't figure out the most was why she could pass through her blue-silver domain and come behind him without him noticing. Seeing Huliana's nervous look, Yinhao couldn't help but tease her. As for senior sister, I haven't seen you for just a few hours, so I'm going to attack junior brother. Huliana put down her raised arm in embarrassment, then looked at Yinhao curiously. You, where did you come from? Yinhao smiled slightly. Sister, do you want to know? Huliana nodded. Then please tell me, senior sister, do you have any treasure on your body that can condense your aura? This is Yinhao's main purpose. Since Huliana is not strong but can escape his detection, the only explanation is that she has some kind of treasure on her body. And this kind of treasure that can avoid detection in his blue-silver field is what Yinhao needs to be vigilant about. Huliana was confused when she heard Yinhao's question. She froze for a while and then groped around. Finally, he raised his arms and opened his hands to show that there is nothing here. Yinhao frowned slightly and secretly called the system. Tongzi, help me scan Huliana's body to see if there is any treasure that can condense the breath. 1,000 gold soul coins. You are maliciously driving up prices. Isn't it usually 100 gold soul coins? After that, it will also be 1,000 gold soul coins in normal times. You are vicious. After the number behind the asset suddenly decreased by 1,000, the profiteer system also started to work. But what should I say, although this system is a bit tricky, the work efficiency is still quite high. The test is completed, and the necklace worn by Huliana's neck has extremely strong energy fluctuations. Senior sister, can I see your necklace? Without hesitation, Yinhao said to Hu Liena directly according to the result of the system. Necklace? Hu Liena froze for a moment, touched the necklace she had been wearing for more than 10 years, wondering why Yinhao wanted to look at it. Is there anything special about this thing? But I don't know after wearing it for so many years. Although a little suspicious, Hu Liena took off the necklace around her neck and handed it to Yinhao. After Yinhao put the necklace on, he looked at it first. There was a small ball-shaped thing tied to a silver-white chain. It looked ordinary and there was nothing special about it. Tongzi, it's your turn again. 100 gold soul coins. Can. System testing. Detection succeeded. Among the 3 spiritual beads of heaven, earth and human beings, the human spirit bead has a more comprehensive function. It has functions such as immunity to toxins, concealing aura, and enhancing mental power. System price, 1 million gold soul coins. 1 million gold soul coins. Yinhao's eyes widened. After so many years of hard work, he still can't afford a broken bead. But, if Yinhao remembers correctly, Hu Liena in the original book was poisoned by that insidious villain Tang San. If the human spirit orb can be immune to poison, why is Hu Liena still poisoned? Suddenly, Yinhao had a flash of inspiration and asked the system. System, is this human Lingzhu something from Douluo Dalo? No. Hearing this answer, Yinhao frowned. Afterwards, Yinhao looked at Hu Liena, smiled and said, Senior sister Tilda, this necklace of yours is really pretty. Why don't you give it to junior brother? Yinhao felt that since Hu Liena didn't know what it was, it wouldn't be impossible for him to fool her. Unexpectedly, Hu Liena directly refused after hearing what Yinhao said. That's not okay, junior brother Oh. If it had been anything else, senior sister would have given it to you, but this necklace was given to me as an apprenticeship gift by the teacher. Senior sister has been wearing it for more than 10 years. Is it Bibi Dong again? Yinhao frowned, first the kaleidoscope and then the human spirit bead. Both were sent by Bibi Dong, plus the gossip that Hu Liena told him before. The guess in Yinhao's heart became more and more certain. Hearing that Hu Liena was unwilling, Yinhao didn't force it, he just nodded and returned the necklace. Now junior brother can tell senior sister how you suddenly appeared just now. Yinhao waved his hand, motioning for Hu Liena to move her face closer. Hu Liena didn't think there was anything wrong, but leaned closer with a smile on her face. Then Yinhao looked around, as if to see if there was anyone around. Hu Liena was too afraid to say a word because of Yinhao's cautious behavior, and just waited quietly. As if making sure that there was no one around, Yinhao lowered his head and whispered in Hu Liena's ear. Actually, I just appeared behind you in a swoosh. Whoosh! Hearing Yinhao's answer, Hu Liena was stunned for a few seconds, and then Yinhao's flamboyant laughter rang out again. Chapter 27, Leaving Wuhan City. Yinhao stayed in Wuhan City for 5 days. During these 5 days, Bibi Dong would often take time out to teach Yinhao, and Yinhao spent the rest of the time chatting with the little fox. Originally, Yinhao wanted to meet several other important figures in Wuhan City, but unfortunately, in addition to Ghost Douluo, Nihuang Douluo and several other titled Douluo elders in Wuhan City, Zai Yue and Li Gaoyan is not in Wuhan City. But this is also normal after all. Hu Liena, who was a saint before, was sent out for 2 months, so it was unreasonable for them to stay in Wuhan City all the time. Douluo Continent, Wuhan City, Pope's Palace. You want to leave? Bai Bidong looked at Yinhao, who was standing below, apparently a little puzzled by his decision to leave after just a few days. Then he looked in Hu Liena's direction and asked suspiciously, Nana, are you bullying your junior brother? Hu Liena was also stunned, looked at Yinhao with some puzzlement and thought, isn't he the one who has been bullying me these past few days? When did I bully him? Before Hu Liena could reply, Yinhao spoke first. Teacher, don't get me wrong. Senior sister is very kind to me, but I have a reason to go back. I hope the teacher will allow me. Bibi Dong wanted to say something more, but seeing Yinhao's firm attitude, she swallowed back what she was about to say. Just nodded, raised his hand, and waved a token. Since you want to go back, the teacher won't ask you why. This is the order of the Holy Son of Wuhan Palace. I originally planned to hold the canonization ceremony of the Holy Son for you after a while, but since you want to leave, what about the ceremony? Let's talk about it later. Yinhao thanked her, and then Bibi Dong sent for a very good-looking, tall and fiery young woman to speak. Nihuang, this is Yinhao, my new apprentice and the new holy son of my spirit hall. From now on, you will be responsible for his safety. Nihuang nodded, raised her hand to Yinhao who was beside her, and saluted slightly. Nihuang has met his Royal Highness son. Yinhao hurriedly returned the gift. Elder Nihuang, you are too polite. In fact, there is no equal sign between the Pope's disciples and the Holy Son and Holy Daughter of Wuhan Temple. Only those who are recognized and canonized by the Pope can be counted as Holy Sons or Holy Daughters. And although Yinhao didn't get the canonization, he heard that Bibi Dong meant the same thing, so Nihuang didn't dare to push him too hard. After watching Yinhao and Nihuang leave from the Pope's palace, Huliena also said to Bibi Dong, "Teacher, I'm going to see off my junior." Bibi Dong nodded and let Huliena leave. Outside Wuhan City, Huliena left after chatting with Yinhao briefly. Huliena still has a good impression of this junior who has only been in contact with for half a month, although he usually likes to play with himself, and he doesn't have any respect for his senior sister. But precisely because of this, it also gave Huliena a feeling different from other people, which was very strange. Watching the carriage that Yinhao was riding in gradually disappearing into the distance, Huliena did not plan to leave until it turned into a small dot and disappeared. Coincidentally, just then a voice came. "Nana, how do you know we're coming back today? Are you here specially to pick us up?" Hearing this familiar voice, Huliena frowned. Looking back, it really was Yan and Zai Yue. At this moment, Yan was looking at himself with a smile all over his face, and the voice just arrived was obviously also made by him. "I told you, don't call me Nana." Seeing Huliena frowning and looking unhappy, how could Yan, a big licker, continue to make her angry? Randomly waved his hand and said, Okay, I won't bark, stop barking, is that okay?" Huliena glanced at him. Of course she knew what Yan thought of her, but she really didn't have any feelings for him. But at any rate, she had known him for so many years, so although Huliena often rejected Yan's overtures in her eyes, she didn't intend to break up with him directly. Yan didn't know what medicine he had taken wrongly. He had rejected him so many times, but whenever he had a chance, he still actively approached Huliena. "Okay, Nana, no matter what, Yan has known us for over 10 years, so don't treat him like this all the time." When Huliena saw her brother speak out, she just wanted to give him face and nodded in agreement. But before she could speak, Yan couldn't bear it anymore. "Ziyu, this is your fault. What Nana says is her business. Although you are her brother, you can't control her in everything, can you?" Zai Yue. Huliena. After Huliena returned to Wuhan City with Zai Yue and Yan, they had a meal with the two of them again. It could be regarded as a reunion of old friends after a long absence. In the evening, Huliena came to the vicinity of the Pope's palace, but she didn't go in. Over the years, she knew Bibi Dong's work and rest habits clearly. At this point, she should be in her bedroom. At this time, Bibi Dong was indeed in her palace. She had just finished taking a shower, wearing only a thin pajamas, and was sitting by the window reading a note that she didn't know what was written on it. "There are thousands of things in the world, but my love has 3. Looking at this note that she had read countless times, 2 lines of clear tears slowly slid down Bibi Dong's cheeks. "Teacher, are you there?" Hearing Huliena's voice from outside, Bibi Dong hurriedly folded the note and put it back in the box by the bed, wiped the tears on her face hastily, and then spoke. "It's Nana, come in." Huliena opened the door and looked at Bibi Dong sitting in front of the bed. She frowned slightly. "Why are the teacher's eyes a little red?" just cried. Before Huliena could think about it, Bibi Dong spoke first. "Is your junior brother gone?" Huliena nodded. "It's been 2 hours since I left, and my elder brother and Yan also returned to Wuhan City after junior brother left." Bibi Dong nodded. Huliena thought for a moment, then took off the necklace from her neck. "Teacher, do you still remember this necklace?" Bibi Dong gave Huliena a strange look, but still nodded. "Isn't this the apprentice gift I gave you when you were 6 years old? What's wrong?" Junior brother seems to know this necklace. Bibi Dong was slightly surprised. He knows. However, he was only surprised for a few seconds before recovering. It's normal after all, it's his son. It's him again in these years, who Liana had heard Bibi Dong mention him hundreds of times, but she still didn't know who he was. Teacher, who is he? Bibi Dong was stunned for a moment, then dragged that beautiful cheek with her hand, slightly raised the corners of her mouth, and said softly, "He's an amazing guy." In the end, Hu Liana still couldn't get the real answer to that question, and could only leave Bibi Dong's room with countless guesses. Chapter 28. Back to Notting College. In a luxurious carriage, Yinhao was chatting with Nihong Douluo, relying on the knowledge and eloquence of his previous life, making Nihong Douluo laugh from time to time. The carriage travelled for 3 days and finally returned to Notting City. Nihong didn't intend to follow Yinhao into the academy. After saying hello to Yinhao, she disappeared from Yinhao's sight. Yinhao doesn't care either, he is still a baby now, and he is surrounded by a woman with a hot body and sexy clothes every day. How much does it affect him to pick up girls? Walking to the door of Notting College, the concierge was still the same as 5 years ago. He had already met Yinhao, the new boss of Notting College, so he naturally wouldn't stop him. Notting College, 7 homes. On a double bed made up of 2 beds, a sweet-looking girl with long hair combed into a scorpion braid was sitting beside the bed, holding her face with 2 white jade-like hands. The 2 pink bunny ears didn't know when they fell off. Hey, why hasn't Brother Hao come back? Zhao Wu was sitting on the edge of the bed, thinking a little annoyedly. Ever since Yinhao asked someone to send back a letter more than 10 days ago, he disappeared and did not come back for more than 10 days in a row. This made Zhao Wu very distressed, not only lost a warm pillow at night, but also lost the top-quality crystal radish. Are you thinking of me, little rabbit? Hearing the familiar voice, the 2 rabbit ears on Zhao Wu's head immediately stood up. She quickly looked back and saw the familiar figure standing behind her, looking at her with a smile on her face. Brother Hao. Zhao Wu stood up and rushed forward, hanging it around Yinhao's neck like a pendant. Okay, am I back? Yinhao patted Zhao Wu's back and comforted her softly. I think. Listening to Zhao Wu's hesitant voice, Yinhao couldn't help but asked curiously. What do you want to do? Zhao Wu raised her head and looked into Yinhao's eyes. I want to eat crystal radish. Yinhao. 5 minutes later, Yinhao looked at Zhao Wu, who was concentrating on eating carrots in front of him, and said, Why didn't you go to class? Zhao Wu answered inarticulately while eating the top-grade crystal radish. No class today. Zhao Shan and his stuffy house pretended to be near the exhibition ceremony of the Pen Field. Zhao San and the others are attending the graduation ceremony. Yinhao roughly understood Zhao Wu's words and nodded. At this time, Zhao Wu seemed to think of something, raised her head to look at Yinhao, quickly chewed a couple of mouthfuls, swallowed the radish in her mouth, and said, By the way, Brother Hao, Master came to the dormitory to look for you before, but you were not here. Oh, what does he want me for? Yinhao looked at Zhao Wu curiously. Although he has obtained Yu Zhaorogang's soul power in the past few years, he has never received it, nor has he chosen to give it away in the system. Because Yu Zhaorogang is different from Tang San. Tang San has a good talent, as long as Yinhao divides the first-level spirit power into 2 or 3 times to receive it slowly, then Tang San's spirit power will still increase, but only a little slower. But what about Yu Zhaorogang? It goes without saying what your talent is, right? Innate half-level soul power. If you want to wait for him to cultivate slowly, then you have to wait until the year of the monkey. But Yinhao is not helpless, he just needs to wait a little longer, and if he finds an opportunity, he can not only absorb all of Yu Zhaorogang's soul power, but also pass the blame on to others. Back to the topic, Zhao Wu thought for a while and said, The master said that we will graduate in a few months, then he wants us to go to a Soul Master Academy run by his friend, what's it called? Shit or something. Yinhao nodded, he would go even if Yu Zhaorogang didn't bring it up. Tang San's spirit power is only around 20 levels now, although because of Yinhao, he has practiced a lot harder than in the original work, and he doesn't even go to the blacksmith shop. his spirit power is still 4 or 5 levels lower than in the original work. And the soul power absorbed by the system is not calculated according to the level. So absorbing the soul power of a great soul master and the soul power of a titled Douluo is the same thing. Now, according to the comparison of Tang San and Yinhao's strength, Tang San's level 1.5 soul power can barely allow Yinhao to advance to level 1, and it will become slower and slower in the future, which will force Yinhao to find other targets. The transaction object stipulated by the system must be a relatively important character in the original work, and the gap in soul power cannot be too large. And there are only a few important characters in the original book, and there are many in Wuhan, but they are his own people, and Yinhao will not do that unless it is a last resort, so the remaining choices are very clear. Who in the original book important, protagonist, so Yinhao can't wait to send Ma Hongjun, Oscar, Dai Mubai and others the help full of concern. Reader, you didn't mention a word about Zhu Zhuqing and Enning Rongrong, brother Hao. While Yinhao and Zhao Wuji were chatting, a voice came from the door. Yinhao and the two looked back and saw Tang San standing at the door looking at them. Little San, long time no see. Tang San also smiled. In the past few years, Yinhao had always helped him, without asking for anything in return. Although he still had no substantial reward, his relationship with Yinhao was still good. Long time no see, brother Hao, where have you been these few days? I went to get the third soul ring, but that soul beast was more difficult to deal with. I fought it several times every day. It took me so many days to finally kill it. Of course, Yinhao would not tell Tang San about his joining the spirit hall. What kind of person is Tang San? If you treat me well, I don't need to repay you, but I still regard you as a friend. But if you, a friend, have something to do to me, then you have already got a way to die. Tang San's smile visibly faded after hearing Yinhao's words. Thinking that he was just level 24 and brother Hao was already over level 30, he couldn't help but feel a trace of jealousy in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face, and immediately started to smile again. Putting on a brighter smile, he began to congratulate Yinhao. Yinhao sneered in his heart, and chatted a few words with Tang San without showing any emotion on the surface. Then Tang San asked the same question as Zhao Wuji. By the way, brother Hao, the teacher told me before that he hopes we can go to Shrek Academy in Soto City together after graduation. Are you willing? Yinhao straightened his face, put away his smile and looked slightly angry. What's your name? When I left the village, I promised Grandpa Jack to take care of you. You are going, how can I not go? Tang San was slightly startled when he heard this, and then he felt regret for the jealousy he had just felt. Brother Hao is so good to me, why am I still jealous of him? This is so inappropriate. Chapter 29. 3 months later, Yinhao and the others were only 1 month away from graduation. Tang San looked at Yinhao, who was about to leave, and said, Brother Hao, are you really planning to leave early? Yinhao nodded. I still have some things to do. I need to leave 1 month in advance. After 1 month, see you at Shrek Academy. Tang San nodded, and after chatting with Yinhao for a few more words, he watched Yinhao leave. Of course, Zhao Wuji also jumped and left behind Yinhao. 3 days later, in a forest outside Soto City, Yinhao was spreading jars of barbecue, seasoning evenly on the wild boar he had shot before. As time passed, wisps of aroma wafted out from the wild boar. Zhao Wuji, who was sitting next to her, could not help swallowing her saliva when she smelled it. Just 2 days ago, she was still arrogant, thinking how could barbecue be as delicious as crystal radish, but in just half a day, she was slapped in the face. The jars of expensive barbecue seasonings redeemed in the system made the already delicious barbecue even more tempting. Zhao Wuji was fascinated by the aroma that was so fragrant. Yinhao glanced at Zhao Wuji, who was staring at the roast suckling pig eagerly, and couldn't help but chuckled. But I should say nothing, the things sold by this dog in the system are really expensive. A few bottles of seasoning cost Yinhao 10 gold soul coins. In addition, today is different from the past. He still has a bodyguard like Nihong Douluo by his side. If he goes to sell tiger soul beasts like before, the price will be too low. Now the gold soul coins can only go out but not come in, which is terrible. Yinhao took the roasted suckling pig off the shelf, placed it on the lotus leaves that had been spread before, and took out the stick. Zhao Wuji, who had been waiting for a long time, pounced on the roasted suckling pig after Yinhao just put it down. Regardless of whether it was boiled or not, she grabbed a pig leg and tore off a large piece of meat. Tia, hot, hot, hot. Tia, it smells so good. Seeing Zhao Wu eating so deliciously, Yinhao touched her two little bunny ears with his hands. Zhao Wu didn't care. She had long been used to it. It seemed that Yinhao was not interested in his braids and her bunny ears. Very interested. She also asked Yinhao why, but what Yinhao said, increased attack speed and so on. If she didn't understand the words since she didn't understand, Zhao Wu didn't continue to ask and instead concentrated on eating her own barbecue. Bah. Yinhao did not eat, but silently asked about the system in his heart. System, are you sure? Didn't you say that Zhu Zhuqing would come here today? It's going to be dark soon, and I haven't even seen a cat hair. Hurry up and return the soul coins to me, don't leave ink stains. Ahem, host, please be patient, wait a little longer, wait a little longer. Yinhao couldn't help it, who let him encounter a cheating system. After waiting for another 2 hours, the sun had already set. Although the sky hadn't completely turned black, it was covered in grey, which greatly blocked people's sight. Host, wait until someone comes. Yinhao instantly became energetic. Where? 11 o'clock direction, 700 meters away. Upon hearing this, Yinhao glanced at Zhao Wu, who was sleeping next to him, and gently took her arms off his neck. Then he changed another Tianluo in the system and placed it in place, and then flew away to the location provided by the system. Tianluo, worth 1,000 gold soul coins, one-time use. Function, it can detect abnormal movements and dangers within a radius of 500 meters within 6 hours, and transmit them into the host's mind through brain waves. In the forest at this time, a broad-minded woman wearing a black tights was walking between the trees, covering her chest. Not far behind her were several middle-aged men wearing night clothes. They had different strengths, but they all had more than 3 soul rings, and one even had 4 soul rings. He was obviously a soul sect. Second miss, you don't need to waste any more energy. You can't run anymore. Let us take you back. Zhu Zhuqing didn't stop just because the people behind him spoke. Did he take her back, afraid to take her body back? Zhu Zhuqing has been hunted all the way since he left Douluo City. As for who sent him, she knows exactly who sent him. After going through all kinds of difficulties, and finally escaping from Douluo Empire and entering Tiandu, Zhu Zhuqing thought he was safe, but he didn't expect her to be so good. The elder sister was so frantic that she directly sent people into Tiandu to continue hunting her down. But fortunately, there are inspectors at the border. If someone who is too powerful comes over, Tiandu will be alerted, so the people chasing and killing Zhu Zhuqing this time are only some soul masters and soul sects. But even so, Zhu Zhuqing, who was injured in the pursuit of the Douluo Empire, could not deal with it. Not to mention she was injured. Even if she was not injured, how could she be just a little big soul master? How about against a group of soul masters and soul sects? Zhu Zhuqing relied on the flexibility brought to her by the nether civet spirit to shuttle back and forth between the big trees. Although she could not get rid of the several spirit masters behind her, she was able to open some distance. Wait, a group of soul sects. Where did that soul sect go? Unknown enemies are always the most terrifying. After losing the figure of the soul sect, Zhu Zhuqing began to scan around vigilantly. The third soul skill, Earth-Splitting Palm. A loud roar sounded from Zhu Zhuqing's left hand. Zhu Zhuqing had no time to turn his head to look. He could only rely on his body's instinct to slightly possess him. Although he escaped the fatal attack, he was still slapped on his left shoulder. Zhu Zhuqing suddenly felt a fishy smell coming from his throat, followed by a surge of liquid, and a mouthful of bright red blood was spurted out from Zhu Zhuqing's mouth. Puff! This palm made Zhu Zhuqing, who was already injured, even worse, but she didn't dare to rest, or even adjust a little bit, and hurriedly retreated to the right to get away from the soul sect who attacked her. Just as she retreated to the right, several soul lords who had been chasing her also arrived. Looking at the pale Zhu Zhuqing in front of them, they couldn't help laughing. A soul master spoke to the only soul sect on the field. Brother, after we complete this order, we can ask the eldest lady to get a large sum of money. By then our brothers will enjoy endless wealth. Ha ha ha. Another soul master on the side also spoke. Idiots, you know money, money, money every day. Soul Lord, who had just arrived, was stunned by the scolding. He looked at the person who scolded him with a puzzled expression. Others also cast their gazes over. The man sneered and cursed secretly in his heart. These short-sighted idiots still spoke. When we bring her body back, the eldest lady will definitely be happy. Once the eldest lady is happy, won't the eldest prince be happy too? At that time, wouldn't it be casual to give our eldest brother a general? It's not normal for the few of us brothers to be able to follow the elder brother to get rich, and to be a partial general, captain or something. Second brother, you still think too far. Yes, the eldest brother will be a general, the second brother will be a partial general, and we are all captains. Has harder. Hearing his brothers say this, their eldest brother couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 30. Yinhao appears. While the few of them were laughing, Zhu Zhuqing was always looking for an opportunity to escape, but the 7 of them formed a circle, tightly surrounding her, so that she had no chance of escaping at all. Everyone had finished laughing, and it was time to get down to business. The 7 people slowly moved closer to Zhu Zhuqing, and the small circle shrank smaller and smaller. Zhu Zhuqing's heart became more and more anxious. His brain was running fast, but he still couldn't find a way to break the situation. As the distance approached, the eldest brother among several people, the only soul sect on the field, raised his right hand. Zhu Zhuqing also gave up struggling, closed his eyes and waited for death to come. However, after waiting for a long time, he still didn't feel the fist falling on him. Zhu Zhuqing opened his eyes in confusion. In front of her, several strange blue-silver grasses with golden stripes were entangled into the shape of a stick, blocking her from the fatal blow. Zhu Zhuqing was stunned and began to look around in a daze, trying to see who was saving him. The 7 people on the opposite side were also dumbfounded, especially the soul sect. He did not expect that someone would come to the rescue at this time. Just as he was looking around for the enemy, his rich combat experience honed by years of killing told him that there was danger. Soul Sect did not hesitate at all and left his previous position with a single jump. The next second after he left, a glistening blue-silver grass ice spike emerged from the ground. The sharp thorn tips emitted bursts of cold light under the bright moonlight, and the Soul Sect was so frightened that he broke into a cold sweat. He had no doubt that if he had not been able to avoid the ice thorn just now, he would definitely be dead or disabled. What kind of hero is a sneak attack? As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a scream coming from not far away from him. What? 7th brother. The Soul Sect hurriedly turned around and saw that the man next to him had the same blue-silver grass ice thorn inserted into his right leg. The Soul Sect was furious. Lao Kai was the youngest of their brothers, and his soul power was also the weakest. He had just broken through to the Soul Master's cultivation level. Although he tried his best to dodge, he still couldn't dodge completely. It seems that the hit rate of this trick still needs to be improved. Even a low-level Soul Master can miss it. It's really. Hearing a voice coming from behind, the 7 of them hurriedly turned their heads to look, but they only saw leaves and countless trees all over the ground. How could there be a shadow of half a person? Just when several people turned their heads back, they found that there was one more person in the middle where Zhu Zhuqing was alone just now. With white jade-like skin, long blue hair, and handsome facial features, even though it was getting late, he could still faintly feel the charm of the person in front of him. But the few people now don't care about whether the man looks good or not. After the man appeared, the few people quickly lifted the encirclement and gathered around Soul Sect, looking at Yinhao vigilantly. Zhu Zhuqing was also frightened by the sudden appearance of the man in front of him. He had just heard a voice coming from the woods behind him. How come in the blink of an eye, there was someone suddenly in front of him? But the smell on him smelled so good. Zhu Zhuqing shook her head quickly to interrupt her thoughts and sighed softly to herself in her heart, but when she took her next breath, the smell of the man smelled like it was like poison, constantly stimulating her central nervous system. If she hadn't turned pale due to excessive blood loss, her face would definitely be flushed. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's reaction, Yinhao nodded with satisfaction. It seems that the top-quality catnip bought for 1,000 yuan is really useful. Hunzong on the opposite side looked at Yinhao nervously. Although he didn't know how the other party managed to appear in front of several people without a sound, this move really shocked him. Although he wanted to complete the task assigned to him by the eldest lady, he was not stupid. Money was something outside of the body after all. As long as they were still alive, with the abilities of the 7 brothers, it was not impossible for them to make money. But if your life is gone, what's the use of having more money? Thinking of this, he already has the idea of retreating, but not everyone knows how to advance and retreat like him. Everywhere there is that kind of stunned young man who wants money but not life. The 4th child just stepped forward, summoned his long sword Wuhan, pointed at Yinhao with the tip of the sword and said, "Boy, who are you? You dare to rob the person that our Quan Xing Keisha likes, and you don't want your life." Hunzong was shocked by this guy's words and looked at the fourth child in front of him in shock. If he didn't take the initiative to come out, you wouldn't even notice him. Even if he came out, you wouldn't even know how he came out. I didn't see it clearly. But now you open your mouth and ask people, are you going to die? I want to ask you if you are going to die. The second brother, who had the clearest mind among them, was also jumped by the fourth brother. He cursed him a few times in his mind, and then turned his attention to the other brothers behind him. He just wanted to persuade them that they should not listen to the fourth brother. Yes, it turns out that a few people seem to have misunderstood. Seeing that he cast his eyes over, he thought he was asking them to go up together to help the fourth child. The second child is the brains of the seven, and even the eldest would often ask the second child's opinion. Ren didn't hesitate anymore, and directly summoned the martial soul to stand beside the fourth child. Everyone in the soul sect was numb. They turned their heads and looked at Lao with question marks on their faces, wanting to ask him what he meant. The second child was about to cry, and he looked at his boss with grievances in his eyes, and now he seemed to say, "I said that's not what I meant, do you believe it?" But now it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. The brothers have already stepped forward. If he, the boss, runs away, what's the matter? So he adjusted his emotions, walked to the front of the crowd and spoke to Yinhao. "Your Excellency, this is the person our Xingluo Zhu family has named to kill. I hope you will not interfere. After we are done with it, we will thank you greatly. But if you insist on stopping it, no matter what the Xingluo Zhu family's methods, you will still have you heard of it. Now that the matter has come to this point, we can only pull the tiger's skin to pull the flag, hopping to scare away the person in front of him, and then do it if it can't." Yinhao did not rush to answer them. Instead, he supported Zhu Zhuqing and slowly leaned against the tree to rest. Then he turned his head and looked at the few people. "Hey, the Xingluo Zhu family, they seem to be very strong. If they know that I stop you, it seems that there will be a lot of trouble." Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's heart tightened. She was seriously injured now, and her soul power was exhausted. If this person really planned to hand her over, there was nothing she could do. On the opposite side of her was Soul Sect, who spoke with a smile on his face. "Since that's the case, please step aside. When we finish our work, I will thank you very much." The fourth child couldn't help but frown when he saw his boss standing on the left and thanking him on the right. A look of confusion appeared on his face, but before he could speak, his boss glared back. Chapter 31, The Soft-Hearted Zhu Zhuqing. However, he was not happy for long as he heard Yinhao continue. "Haze, don't worry." Soul Sect was a little puzzled and spoke again. "Is there anything else you would like to say?" Yinhao waved his hand. "You misunderstood. What I meant was, if the Xingluo Zhu family didn't know it was me, wouldn't that be fine?" A bad premonition suddenly rose in Soul Sect's heart, but he still asked, "What do you mean by that?" Yinhao chuckled. "I mean, kill all of you. Don't the Xingluo Zhu family know about it?" After finishing speaking without talking nonsense, the blue-silver Emperor martial spirit emerged, and 3 soul rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple, surrounded Yinhao instantly. With their strength, they definitely cannot see through the disguised skills of the blue-silver domain, so they will only see 3 soul rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple. To be honest, the moment Yinhao saw that there were only 3 soul rings, the Soul Sect relaxed a lot, followed by endless anger. A soul master dared to play with them for so long, and if it spread, how could he mess around? The other younger brothers around him couldn't listen any longer. When had Quanxing Keisha been provoked like this before? They were still little soul masters. Thinking of this, the fourth child with the most grumpy temper rushed forward. Yinhao didn't talk nonsense, and the second soul ring instantly lit up. The second soul skill, Blue-Silver Cage. Yinhao's second soul ring came from a 700-year-old human-faced demon spider, but in the past few years, through Yinhao's unremitting efforts, it was upgraded to 1,100-year-old. After Yinhao shouted, a few blue-silver grasses with golden stripes appeared at the feet of Lao Si in an instant, surrounding him from all directions. "Silver grass seems to trap him. Are you underestimating him?" Thinking about it, he raised his sword spirit, and 3 spirit rings, 1 white, 1 yellow, and 1 purple, appeared instantly. The third soul skill, Crazy Sword Slash. The power of the 1,000-year soul ring is indeed impressive, but unfortunately his long sword martial spirit is just an ordinary long sword, so he only cut off half of the blue-silver emperor and couldn't cut it. The next second after he released his soul skill, the blue-silver domain was completely formed, and a cage surrounded by the blue-silver emperor directly covered the fourth child inside. Yinhao didn't intend to just let him go, and the third soul ring lit up again. The third soul skill, Ice Dragon Technique. Hearing Yinhao release the soul skill again, the fourth child who was trapped in the blue seal cage instinctively felt bad. Sure enough, as Yinhao shouted, countless cold blue and silver grasses rose from the ground and quickly woven into a huge ice dragon in the air. The people standing behind had already sensed that something was wrong when Yinhao released the blue-silver cage to trap the fourth child. At the moment when the ice dragon appeared, the 6 people standing behind looked at each other and also felt that something was wrong. Without saying anything, he hurriedly ran forward and stood in front of the fourth child. Not to mention anything else, the size of this ice dragon is very domineering. It is more than 6 meters long, and the width of 2 people's arms makes people feel chills on their backs. The 6 of them didn't dare to be careless and immediately released their defensive soul skills. The third soul skill, Turtle Protection. The second soul skill, Silver Wolf Shield. The third soul skill, Chimpanzee Defense. Yinhao has no interest in waiting for each of them to use their defensive soul skills before attacking. This is not a turn-based game. So before they had fully released their soul skills, they waved their hands and the ice dragon roared and rushed over. Originally, if several people had released their soul abilities on the spot at that time, they could definitely have released them all, but that would inevitably require giving up the fourth child who was still ahead. The soul skills of several people were broken by Yinhao before they finished releasing them. All 6 of them spat out a mouthful of blood, and their bodies fell down uncontrollably. As the only soul sect, the eldest son should have been the least injured, but he took the initiative to resist some of the injuries for his younger brothers, so the injuries were not minor. Big brother, second brother. The fourth child behind him saw this scene and his eyes were red. He took his long sword and martial soul and tried desperately to chop at the blue-silver cage, but it was of no use. Yinhao was also stunned for a moment, but the movements of his hands did not stop. The enemy was still the enemy, and he would not be soft-hearted because of any actions of the enemy until he put down the sword in his hand. Don't let them go. Just when Yinhao was about to continue, a weak female voice came from behind Yinhao. Yinhao turned around and took a look, only to see Zhu Zhuqing standing up slowly while holding on to the tree. Oh, miss, did they just want to kill you? Zhu Zhuqing shook his head and did not answer Yinhao's question, but looked at the soul sect lying on the ground. Uncle Li, I will call you Uncle Li at the end. No matter what, you took good care of me when I was a child. From now on, we will never be estranged from each other. Several people lying on the ground were stunned for a moment, especially the soul sect, who looked shocked. Then he glanced at Zhu Zhuqing gratefully and then turned to Yinhao. Yinhao smiled slightly and looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Girl, you should think about it. I have no grievances or enmities with them. It's just a matter of injustice. But they want to kill you, so you just let them go. Zhu Zhuqing lifted lion and looked at Yinhao. Thank you, but this is not their original intention. Please let them go this time. The Lord has already said that. What else can Yinhao say? Withdrawing his soul power, the blue and silver cage that trapped the fourth child disappeared in an instant. With red eyes, the fourth child rushed forward with a knife in his hand to fight Yinhao desperately, but luckily he was stopped by the boss. He could only give Yinhao one last resentful look, lift up the people who had fallen on the ground, give them some healing medicine, and slowly laid them away. Thank you. It seemed that these words took up the last of his strength. After saying these words, Zhu Zhuqing fainted. Yinhao hurried forward to support her, looking at her pale face. Yinhao shook his head, soft-hearted, kind, nostalgic. How can such a person be suitable for fighting for power and profit? But Yinhao looked in the direction where the previous few people left, but at this time, they had completely disappeared. Then he looked at the controls and waved to the empty sky. A sexy beauty in red appeared instantly. It was Nihong Douluo. After meeting Yinhao, Nihong saluted first. I have seen the Holy Sun. Yinhao smiled. Sister Nihong, why are you so polite again? Didn't you say that? I call you sister and you can call me brother. Nihong glanced at Yinhao, and a smile appeared on her face. Although she looked like she was only in her 20s, and her skin was even more delicate than that of a girl. Her real age was already in her 50s or 60s. However, a woman would never admit that she was older. After hearing Yinhao call her that, she immediately agreed. Sister Nehuang, those people just now regarded me as my enemy. It's inconvenient for me now. Please help me deal with it. Nehuang looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who was lying in Yinhao's arms, nodded, and disappeared. But Yinhao brought Zhu Zhuqing back to his tent. Chapter 32, Healing Zhu Zhuqing's wounds. Back at the tent, Zhao Wu was already awake. Seeing Yinhao coming back, Zhao Wu asked with confusion, "Brother Hao, what did you do?" Before she finished speaking, Zhao Wu noticed Zhu Zhuqing in Yinhao's arms. His eyes widened instantly, and he looked at Yinhao in surprise. "What's the situation, Brother Hao? Went to robbery and robbed a woman back. Did you say that you came here to do business? Just to rob the Tao?" For some reason, when she saw Yinhao hugging the woman with double tumors in front of her, Zhao Wu felt uncomfortable for a while and even frowned unconsciously. "Ouch!" Zhao Wu covered her forehead and looked at Yinhao with a puzzled face, not understanding why she hit herself. "What are you thinking about? She's injured, why don't you come over to help?" "Injured?" Zhao Wu hurried forward and saw that the girl in front of her was wet, and when she touched it with her hand, it was red and sticky. It was blood. Seeing this, Zhao Wu stopped thinking about it and quickly helped Yinhao put Zhu Zhuqing in the only tent. "Ah, it's indeed the only one. The two have slept together for so many years in the past. What's wrong with sleeping in a tent now?" Yinhao took out a pair of scissors, a white towel, a few white cotton balls and a few bottles of medicine from the storage ring and put them aside, then said to Zhao Wu, "Go and boil a pot of hot water." "Ooh." Zhao Wu quickly nodded. And Yinhao gently cut Zhu Zhuqing's clothes with scissors, and the snow-white skin was directly exposed the moment the clothes were cut. Why not let Zhao Wu do it? Don't get me wrong, this is really not Yinhao taking advantage of the situation. In his previous life he liked to seek death, take risks. He was injured a lot, and he is already very experienced in dealing with wounds. But Zhao Wu, except for eating crystal radishes and fighting, her other abilities are basically zero. Let her treat Zhu Zhuqing's wounds, then the three Shrek sisters will probably become two sisters. Yinhao cut off all Zhu Zhuqing's clothes from his left shoulder to his chest, revealing a huge wound directly in front of Yinhao's eyes. "Don't blame," Yinhao said softly, although he likes beautiful women and occasionally uses some small tricks, but it is not enough to take advantage of others. After removing the last obstacle that blocked Zhu Zhuqing's wound, Yinhao dipped the cotton ball on the side into a bottle of medicine. Then used tweezers to gently wipe both sides of the wound in front of Zhu Zhuqing's body, not only to prevent infection, but also to better apply the medicine. The moment the cotton ball touched the wound, Zhu Zhuqing, who was in a coma, couldn't help but hum, and the willow eyebrows on her beautiful face were slightly frowned, but there was no sign of waking up. Yinhao didn't stop what he was doing. He cleaned the wound, disinfected it, and applied medicine. Just as Yinhao was applying the medicine, Zhao Wu walked in. Zhu Zhuqing was just stunned for a moment when he saw the spring in front of him. He didn't say anything. He just walked to Yinhao with hot water. "Brother Hao, the hot water is ready." Yinhao didn't look up and said while giving Zhu Zhuqing the medicine. "Pour hot water into a cup first, pour the rest into a basin, and put the white towel next to me into it." Zhao Wu didn't ask why, and did it directly after listening to Yinhao's words. The two worked hard for an hour, and finally it was over after Yinhao wrapped Zhu Zhuqing's wound with gauze. Yinhao wiped the sweat off his brow, glanced at Zhu Zhuqing in the tent, and said, "Zhao Wu, you can sleep with her overnight in the tent today, and I'll make do with it outside." "Yeah." Zhao Wu nodded and did not refuse. You can say that Zhao Wu has many shortcomings, such as being a troublemaker, a violent woman, etc., but it is undeniable that she is still very kind. After seeing Zhu Zhuqing hurt like this finally, he was willing to stay and watch her. Silent all night. The next morning, Zhao Wu rubbed her eyes and walked out of the tent, just in time to see Yinhao walking back from the jungle, carrying a small wild boar. As soon as she saw the little wild boar, Zhao Wu's foodie nerves were instantly triggered, and her eyes, which were still a little bit closed, opened instantly, and a smile appeared on her face. "Okay, don't smirk. Is the girl inside still awake?" Zhao Wu shook her head, indicating no. Okay then, I'll go and deal with the wild boar. You can find some firewood, and we'll eat roasted wild boar. It is good. As soon as she heard about eating roasted wild boar, Zhao Wu jumped up and went to the woods to collect firewood. About an hour after Zhao Wu left, Yinhao, who was setting up the grill, suddenly felt someone approaching him. Through the blue-silver domain, Yinhao also directly knew the identity of the person who came. It was Zhu Zhuqing. However, her complexion was not very good at this time. When she just woke up in the morning, she found that her clothes were rotten, and the inner and outer layers in front of her body were gone, not completely, but half of it was gone, cut by scissors. However, she also saw the gauze wrapped several times in front of her, which made her frown slightly relaxed. Then she found a woman's dress next to her and put it on. It was a little tight, but it fit. After putting on her clothes, Zhu Zhuqing just wanted to get up, but the severe pain in front of her still made her frown. After trying several times, she barely stood up. As soon as he went out, Zhu Zhuqing saw Yinhao, who was putting on airs not far away, and walked over directly. To be honest, she is in a very complicated mood now. On the one hand, she is a very conservative woman, otherwise she would not take such a big risk to come to Tiandu to find that fiancé whom she has never met with just a marriage letter. As for the man in front of him, if nothing else happened, he should have cut off his clothes and looked at his body. This made Zhu Zhuqing, who was traditional in thinking, somewhat unacceptable. But on the other hand, he was also doing this to save himself. Based on his injuries at the time, if he hadn't received treatment in time, he would have been completely cold by now. So after combining the two aspects, Zhu Zhuqing didn't know what attitude he should take to face Yinhao. He could only walk to Yinhao's side blankly, waiting for him to speak first. In fact, Yinhao found her as soon as she came out, but Yinhao still pretended to have just found her. "Huz, are you awake? Did you take off my clothes?" I don't know why Zhu Zhuqing panicked a little after saying this, but she was still suppressed. Yinhao was slightly taken aback, nodded and said, "I took it off, but it was also for your wounds." Before he finished speaking, Zhu Zhuqing took out a dagger and pointed it at Yinhao. She had seen the scenes of Yinhao fighting before, and she also knew that she could not be Yinhao's opponent at all, but she still took out the dagger. Even if Yinhao wanted to kill her because of this, she also recognized it and treated it as, give him his life back. Chapter 33, The Rose Hotel. Just when Zhu Zhuqing pointed the dagger at Yinhao, a voice came from not far away. "Hey, what are you doing?" Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were instantly attracted, and he saw a sweet-looking girl with a scorpion tail looking at her angrily. "My brother Hao worked so hard to save you. He disinfected you and gave you medicine. In the end, he gave you the tent and slept outside all night. As soon as you woke up, you pointed your finger at me with a knife, looking at your savior." Zhu Zhuqing was confused by what Zhao Wu said. She was not good at words, and when Zhao Wu said this, she couldn't even speak a word. Although she didn't intend to hurt Yinhao, pointing a knife at him was a reality, an undeniable reality. And from what the little girl said, because she slept outside for one night, no matter what, she was kind to her, but now. Zhao Wu stopped talking. Now Yin Compassionate Hao is online. "Girl, I can understand your mood. But you don't have to take it too seriously. I just wanted to treat your injuries before, so cutting your clothes was really a helpless move, and I didn't mean to offend you. I also believe that you definitely don't want to seek revenge from me for this matter. Otherwise, why didn't you even activate the martial spirit?" Zhu Zhuqing lowered his head slightly after hearing this, as if he had acquiesced. Yinhao walked up to her, gently took the dagger from her hand, held it in front of his eyes and looked at it front and back. "It's pretty, why don't you give it to me?" Zhu Zhuqing didn't say anything but nodded. After Yinhao approached, the sinner's smell from last night came out again. Although Zhu Zhuqing tried his best to endure it, there was still a trace of blush on his cheeks. Yinhao looked at Zhu Zhuqing with some worries. "What's wrong with you? Why is your face so red? Are you uncomfortable?" Zhu Zhuqing shook her head, and then she bit the tip of her tongue hard, and then her brain regained consciousness. And Yinhao also knows when enough is enough, and not to go too far. After calling Zhao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing to sit down, the barbecue started. And Zhao Wu may have been reluctant to look at Zhu Zhuqing directly because of the incident just now, and Zhu Zhuqing is not good at expressing, so for a while there was a feeling of ignoring each other between the two of them. It was the familiar technique again. As the boar meat became golden and oily, the aroma from it gradually wafted out. Even Zhu Zhuqing, who always had a cold face, couldn't help but look at him sideways. Little, hee, you see, after sitting for so long I still don't know your name. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Yinhao, and her name is Zhao Wu. Yinhao said with a smile. When Zhao Wu was introduced, Zhao Wu reluctantly said hello under Yinhao's gaze. Zhu Zhuqing nodded and said, "Hello, my name is Zhu Zhuqing." The few of them chatted while eating, and Zhao Wu was no longer so cold towards Zhu Zhuqing. "By the way, Zhuqing, what are you doing in Soto City?" Yinhao said casually while eating the barbecue. Speaking of this, Zhu Zhuqing, who was still half smiling, became cold again. "I'm coming to school." Zhao Wu also spoke. "Really? We are also here to go to school. Why don't you tell me which college you are going to? Maybe we will still be classmates in the future." Zhu Zhuqing nodded. "The academy I'm going to is called Shrek Academy. You may not have heard of it. In fact, I only know a name. It is true that she only knows a name, and even this name was obtained after many inquiries. As a result, her fiancé, the third prince of Xingluo, dared not even send her a letter in order not to be found by his elder brother." "Really?" Zhao Wu exclaimed. She didn't expect such a coincidence that this Zhu Zhuqing would go to Shrek Academy, so it seems that this Shrek Academy is quite famous. Zhu Zhuqing was taken aback by Zhao Wu's exclamation, and after reacting, she also looked at Zhao Wu with some surprise. "You are going to Shrek Academy too?" Zhao Wu nodded. "That's right, someone recommended Brother Hao to go to the Shrek Academy of Soul Masters, and I followed suit." Zhu Zhuqing was surprised by such a coincidence and continued to ask, "Then do you know what kind of academy this Shrek Academy is?" Zhao Wu shook her head. "We haven't been there yet. Since we all want to go, that's good. Let's go together." Zhu Zhuqing hesitated for a moment, then nodded and agreed. "Then's Brother Hao." Zhao Wu looked at Yinhao, as if she was waiting for him to make a decision. Yinhao smiled and touched Zhao Wu's head. "Since you and Zhuqing are both willing, let's go together after Zhuqing's injury has recovered. By the way, Brother Hao, didn't you say you came out to do things? Then what about your affairs?" "My work has been done, silly girl," Yinhao thought in his heart, but when it came to his mouth it turned out to be, "What's the matter? I just found an excuse to hang out with you for 2 days." "Brother Hao." Zhao Wu's face was full of emotion when she heard the words, as if tears would flow out in the next second. Yinhao hurriedly hugged her in his arms to comfort her. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Zhao Wu enviously. She still doesn't know the situation of her fiancé. The three of them didn't go anywhere. They just set up another tent in this field. Zhao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing slept together. Yinhao slept by himself. I don't know why, but the two people who had an ordinary relationship before became like sisters in a short period of time. After more than 20 days, seeing that Zhu Zhuqing's injury was almost healed, under Yinhao's suggestion, the three of them headed for Suotuo City. Under the deliberate leadership of Yinhao, the three also successfully arrived at the entrance of the Rose Hotel in the original book. "Brother Hao, this hotel looks so high-end, let's stay here." Yinhao didn't rush to agree, but turned to look at Zhu Zhuqing. "Zhuqing, what do you think?" It was also the first time for Zhu Zhuqing to come to Soto City, plus she didn't know much about these hotels. She didn't even know that this was a couple hotel, so she agreed directly. "Okay, let's stay here." Since the three of them arrived a few days earlier than in the original work, they did not meet Tang San and Dai Mubai. On the contrary, when the waiter at the front desk saw that Yinhao had brought two beauties with completely different styles to stay at the Love Hotel, his eyes turned green with envy. In the end, he could only silently despise Yinhao in his heart. Yinhao opened 2 rooms, which were still the same, one for Zhu Zhuqing and Zhao Wu, and one for Yinhao himself. It was the first time for the three of them to come to Suoto City, so when Yinhao proposed to play for 2 days and go shopping before going to the academy, they didn't refuse. Chapter 34, another tradable object appears in this way. The three played in Soto City for 2 days, and it was almost evening when they returned after shopping on the 3rd day. The three of Yinhao just came upstairs and were standing in the corridor chatting, when they heard a noise coming from downstairs. It seemed that someone was fighting for a room. Hearing this voice, Yinhao smiled slightly. He knew that a good show was about to take place. Originally, Zhu Zhuqing and Zhao Wuji didn't care about the things downstairs, until Zhu Zhuqing heard the words, "I have evil eyes and a white tiger wears Mubai." Then he raised his head. "What's wrong, Zhuqing?" Zhao Wuji asked curiously. Zhu Zhuqing shook his head, pretending to be relaxed, and said, "There seems to be an argument downstairs." Zhao Wuji waved her hand indifferently. "They quarrel as long as they quarrel, let's talk about our own." Zhu Zhuqing still shook his head and said, "Zhao Wuji, can you accompany me down to have a look?" Zhao Wuji glanced at Zhu Zhuqing in surprise. After spending time together, he felt that Zhu Zhuqing was a girl who didn't like to join in the fun and had a cold personality. Why did she take the initiative to join in the fun today? Before Zhao Wuji could answer, Yinhao spoke first. "Let's go together. It sounds like both sides are about to take action." Zhu Zhuqing did not refuse. At the same time, today's protagonist, Dai Mubai, the evil-eyed white tiger, was arrogantly standing in front of the counter with his arms around two identical-looking twin long-legged beauties. "Boy, don't you know that this last room is reserved for my evil-eyed white tiger Dai Mubai?" Right in front of him, an ordinary-looking young man with short hair was looking at him with a frown. The three Yinhao people who were standing not far away and watching the excitement were already in place. The moment Zhao Wuji saw the short-haired young man, she was obviously stunned for a moment, and then pulled Yinhao's sleeves. "Brother, how is it, Zhao?" Yinhao nodded. Although they booked 2 rooms in the Rose Hotel when they arrived, this situation still appeared. Tang San frowned and said, "Sorry, I've already paid and got the key. This room is already mine." Hearing this, Dai Mubai snorted coldly. "Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. Then you are planning to not give me face." The 2 beautiful twins in his arms also spoke. "Young Master Dai tilde, when will you get it done tilde?" "Yes, Mr. Dai, my sister has already thought about it." Dai Mubai, who was already in a bad mood by Tang San, couldn't help it anymore after hearing what the 2 sisters said. He directly stepped forward and said, "Boy, I think you are also a soul master, right? Then let's use the soul master's method to solve this matter." "Wow, Mr. Dai is so handsome." "Young Master Dai, come on." Hearing the voice behind him, Dai Mubai became even more arrogant. Tang San hesitated for a moment. He himself didn't want to fight, but today, it seems that it's hard to be kind. However, he still had confidence in his talent, and he didn't give in. He just nodded and agreed. "Okay, if you have the guts, then come on." The shop owner standing nearby wanted to give him some advice. "Young Master Dai, and this lord, my small shop can't stand the trouble. I also ask you lords to have a lot." Before he finished speaking, he was directly interrupted by Dai Mubai. "Boss, don't worry, all the losses caused today will be recorded in my account, Dai Mubai." The boss still hesitated. "Okay." Dai Mubai looked at the shop owner with some displeasure. This frightened the store owner, who quickly stepped aside and did not dare to say anything more. "The surname Dai is so arrogant, isn't it, Zhuqing? Zhuqing." Zhao Wuji yelled twice, but found that Zhu Zhuqing hadn't responded. She hurriedly looked back, only to see that she was looking pale and staring at the field with blank eyes. Zhao Wuji was startled. Why is it that Zhuqing's face is paler than my mistress who died 3 days ago?" Hastily pulled Yinhao's arm and said, Brother Hao, take a quick look at Zhuqing. Is she injured again? Her face is ugly." Yinhao also turned his head to look at the words, although Zhao Wuji didn't know why Zhu Zhuqing was like this, but he knew it, and this was also the purpose of bringing Zhu Zhuqing here. A good girl like Zhu Zhuqing, who can go far away to find her fiancé regardless of danger just for a marriage letter. How can this Dai Mubai, who is always nostalgic for Gulen, be worthy of her? Well, I Yinhao are greedy for her body, so stop pretending, okay? Zhuqing. Yinhao called her twice, and Zhu Zhuqing came back to his senses, as if waking up from a big dream. What's wrong? Zhao Wuji took Zhu Zhuqing's hand and said with concern. "Zhuqing, has your wound recurred again? do you know that your face is ugly now? Yinhao also said with concern. That's right, Zhuqing, if you can't, go back and rest first. Zyro Wu and I will take you up there. Hearing the two people's words of concern, Zhu Zhuqing felt a little warmth in her heart. Born in such a sad family as Zhu's family, it goes without saying how her family life is like. Her parents were indifferent, and her elder sister wanted her to die every day. Even her fiancé didn't even say hello, and fled to this small town alone to linger on her last breath, without any regard for her life or death. Zhu Zhuqing shook his head, forced a smile, and said, I'm fine, I'm just a little tired. Don't worry about me, let's continue watching. Dai Mubai on the field also seemed to have noticed something, glanced in Yinhao's direction, and paused a little when he saw Zhu Zhuqing, but only slightly. Because when he first came down, Yinhao used the disguise skill of the blue-silver field to make a small disguise for Zhu Zhuqing's martial spirit. With Dai Mubai's cultivation level, if he wants to transcend Yinhao's disguise and feel the resonance with Zhu Zhuqing's martial spirit, he is too far behind. So now Zhu Zhuqing knew that Dai Mubai on the field was his so-called fiancé, and Dai Mubai only thought that Zhu Zhuqing was a somewhat familiar stranger. After withdrawing his gaze, Dai Mubai directly activated his martial spirit, and a huge white tiger martial spirit instantly possessed him, making his originally ordinary figure suddenly become very strong. The muscles in front of his body bulged, and his arms became thicker. The word Chinese letter loomed on his forehead, and a pair of eyes reflected an evil color. At the same time, 3 soul rings, Huang, Huang and Zai, surrounded him in an instant, adding to his arrogance. Dai Mubai Martial Soul, White Tiger, Level 37 Assault Type Battle Soul Venerable, please advise. After seeing his martial spirit, the last trace of hope in Zhu Zhuqing's heart disappeared. The martial spirit resonated with his, named Dai Mubai, and the evil-eyed white tiger martial spirit. Who else could it be if he wasn't his fiancé? Zhu Zhuqing secretly mocked himself in his heart. He took great risks to come here to find him. He encountered countless chases and murders on the way. What about others? Have you ever cared about yourself in your debauchery? Chapter 35, Yinhao of Shooting Out of Righteousness. Tang San on the field also frowned after seeing the 3 spirit rings surrounding Dai Mubai, feeling a bit regretful about agreeing to duel with him so easily before. Although he regretted it, he still summoned his martial soul. A weak-looking blue-silver grass appeared in his right hand, and 2 yellow soul rings also appeared beside him. Tang San, Martial Spirit, Blue-Silver Grass, a level 25 control-type Battle Spirit Master, please advise. Although Tang San was sucked a lot of soul power by Yinhao, it was precisely because of this that he practiced even harder. Although he couldn't recover to the level in the original book, it was still not low. Dai Mubai frowned and said somewhat unexpectedly, Blue-Silver Grass, your martial spirit is Blue-Silver Grass. Tang San snorted coldly and uttered Yu Zirogang's famous nonsense words. There is no waste spirit, only waste soul masters. Dai Mubai was slightly taken aback, put away the mocking expression on his face, and nodded. There is no trash martial soul, only trash soul masters. Well said, then let me see your strength. After speaking, he stretched out his hands, a pair of tiger claws attached to his hands, and rushed towards Tang San. The first soul skill, Coil. As Tang San drank out, several blue-silver grass instantly rose up to block between Tang San and Dai Mubai. A confident smile also appeared on Tang San's face. His first spirit ability came from a 400-year-old mandala snake. When the other party didn't use the spirit ability, even if he was a level 37 spirit master, he could still break through. Don't break your own blue-silver grass. If it's the original book, it's true, but it's a pity that his first soul ring has already been balled by Yinhao, and there are only 100 years left. How can he stop Dai Mubai at level 37? Dai Mubai waved his hands. The blue-silver grass blocking him was instantly cut off by the middle. Seeing this, Tang San turned pale with shock and wanted to continue releasing the spirit ability, but it was already too late. The distance between the two was no longer enough for him to continue releasing the spirit ability. After Dai Mubai broke through Tang San's blue-silver grass in less than half a second, he was in front of Tang San, slapped down, and hit Tang San firmly on the left face. How could Tang San endure this all of a sudden? It was directly slapped to the ground by Dai Mubai, and the left half of his face swelled up at a speed visible to the naked eye. Dai Mubai was stunned, stopped to look at Tang San lying on the ground, and then looked at his right hand. Didn't it mean that there are no waste spirits, only waste soul masters, so, cooperating with you are a waste? Tang San supported the ground with his hands, slowly got up. At this moment his left half of face was completely swollen, it looked much bigger than the right half of face. Puff! Tang San spit out a mouthful of blood foam from his mouth, and there was a white thing in it. What else could it be if it wasn't his teeth? Tang San looked at Dai Mubai on the opposite side with bloodshot eyes. The murderous aura on his body could no longer be hidden. Dare to slap Tang Sancho in the face. This person already has a way to die. Thinking like this, Tang San flicked his cuff lightly, ready to shoot the silent sleeve arrow at the damned guy opposite. Yinhao also knew when he saw Tang San standing up that it was time for him to appear. Otherwise, no matter which one of them cripples the other, the one who loses is himself. Of course, if he was only injured, he would also benefit from it. Little San. Hearing a familiar voice coming from behind him, Tang San hastily put away the silent sleeve arrow that was about to be fired, and looked back. I saw Yinhao was standing not far behind him, and walking towards him. Hao Guo, brother Hao, is too good to quit, long time no see. As he spoke, he showed a smile that was uglier than crying. Yinhao didn't smile, and walked to Tang San with a cold face, first looked at his slapped left cheek with concern, and then took out a bottle of medicine for trauma from the storage ring. Little San, take this bottle of medicine and go to treat the wound first, and leave this to brother, who will avenge you. Hao Guo, brother Hao. Tang San glanced at Yinhao gratefully. When he left the village, Grandpa Jack told them to take care of each other, but after so many years, brother Hao has always been taking care of him. Although he still didn't give any substantial rewards, and even concealed all kinds of hidden weapons, ghost shadows and other skills. But he still regarded Yinhao as his best friend. After taking the medicine Yinhao handed over, Tang San immediately stepped aside. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 20% understanding of Tang San's Kung Fu Ghost Shadow Mistracking by trading trauma medicines. Do you want to receive it? Not yet. Yinhao looked at Dai Mubai opposite with a cold face and said, You hurt my brother, why don't you give me an explanation? How arrogant is Dai Mubai? Hearing that Yinhao came to stand up for Tang San, he said with a sneer. Explanation, what statement? He agreed when I proposed to compete. And he said it himself, there is no useless martial spirit, only useless soul masters. How powerful is he in my opinion, as a result? That's it, what a waste. You. Hearing these words, Tang San couldn't stop being angry, wishing he could shoot him a silent sleeve arrow right now. Is it a competition? Well, let me compare with you. Dai Mubai gave Yinhao a disdainful look. He looked pretty good. He couldn't be a pretty boy who didn't look good, could he? Yes, but don't be like the guy behind you, shouting slogans so loudly that it's over as soon as you reach out your hand. Tang San was about to explode with anger. In his eyes, this Dai Mubai was already a dead person. Since you agree, let's come. Okay. Then Dai Mubai tidied himself up and mobilized his spirit power again. The white tiger instantly possessed his body again, and the 3 spirit rings that had just appeared on one side reappeared. Dai Mubai Martial Soul, White Tiger, Level 37 Assault Type Battle Spirit Master. Yinhao also summoned the Martial Soul, and the Blue Silver Emperor Martial Soul appeared in his right hand, surrounded by the same 3 soul rings of yellow, and purple. Yinhao Martial Soul, Blue Silver Emperor, Level 36 Control System War Soul Master. Level 36. Dai Mubai glanced at Yinhao in surprise, then looked him up and down, thinking in his heart, this person looks smaller than me, but his spirit power is so high, maybe he came to Shrek to enroll. He can't get it well, I'm still a classmate in the future, so I'd better keep my hand. Thinking about it like this would be bad news. Originally, with his strength, Yinhao could deal with him with one hand. If he still wanted to keep his hand, it would be good not to be dropped by Yinhao in seconds. Dai Mubai launched the attack first, waving 2 tiger claws and rushed towards Yinhao. But Yinhao would not be polite to him, and the first soul ring would light up directly. The first soul skill, Blue Silver Mysterious Eye Spike. Chapter 36, Defeating Dai Mubai. After Yinhao shouted the words, Blue Silver Xuan Eye Spike. With a few sounds of crush, rub, a lot of blue-silver grass sprouted up from the ground all around. However, this blue-silver grass was different from ordinary blue-silver grass. It had golden stripes and was thicker. Not to mention, each root was extremely hard and risky, a hint of chill. In an instant, countless large blue-silver grass ice thorns burst and turned into small ice thorns all over the sky. Dai Mubai, who was still charging, was immediately stunned. The director was cheating, the director cheated. However, Dai Mubai's reaction speed was not slow, and he immediately stopped charging, and the third and first soul rings lit up one after another. The third soul skill, White Tiger King Kong Transformation. The first soul skill, the White Tiger Barrier. The next second after he released his defensive soul skills, the sky full of blue-silver grass ice spikes also arrived. Hundreds of blue-silver grass ice spikes hit the White Tiger's protective barrier, making a ding-ding-ding sound. However, in just 1 second, a layer of sweat appeared on Dai Mubai's forehead. It was not because he was scared, but because he was tired from the rapid consumption of his soul power. What? Dai Mubai shouted loudly and stretched out the 2 tiger claws fiercely, continuing to increase the output of soul power. But although it was only Yinhao's first soul ability, it was also a 1,000-year soul ability. Although Dai Mubai tried his best to defend, he responded hastily after all, and a few ice thorns broke through the defense of the White Tiger's body barrier, hitting him body. Fortunately, after releasing the White Tiger King Kong transformation, Dai Mubai's body became very strong, and it was not a big problem to resist a few ice spikes. Finally, all the ice thorns in the sky were fired. Dai Mubai took off the White Tiger barrier and let out a sigh of relief. But what he didn't notice was that an ice thorn of blue-silver grass quietly appeared under his feet, and then quickly rose from the ground. By the time Dai Mubai realized it, it was already too late. He just heard a crack sound, and the weakest part of his soul power behind him was instantly broken. What? A scream came out of Dai Mubai's mouth. The spirit possession was instantly broken, and he fell powerlessly on the ground, covering his back with his right hand, and stretched out his left hand to point at Yinhao. Use you. Yinhao completely ignored Dai Mubai's cannibalistic eyes, and spoke. Brother Dai, it seems you have lost. Seeing Dai Mubai fell on the ground, the 2 twin beauties behind him immediately stepped up and helped Dai Mubai up. Master Dai, are you okay? Master Dai, what's wrong with you? Where are you injured? Dai Mubai ignored the 2 of them at all and just looked at Yinhao. In fact, after receiving Yinhao's first soul skill, he realized that he should not be his opponent and was ready to give up. In the end, I didn't expect that before I could say anything, my weakness was broken first. The 2 twin sisters beside Dai Mubai were too weak to see Yinhao's movements clearly, but Tang San, not far away, could see them clearly. After seeing that scene, he immediately swallowed his saliva, felt a chill in his back, and quickly tightened his legs. Although Yinhao's methods are not very good, if he loses, he loses. Dai Mubai, the evil-eyed white tiger, is not someone who cannot afford to lose. Good boy, I remember you. You came to Shrek Academy to enroll, right? Yinhao nodded and did not deny it. Okay, let's settle our accounts later. After saying that, he was supported by 2 twin sisters and limped away. But what he didn't notice was that when he turned around, the twin sister casually passed a piece of paper back, and it happened to fall into Yinhao's hand. Yinhao despised this kind of behavior and put the ball of paper in his pocket, planning to educate them in the future. Looking back at Tang San, at this moment Tang San has a big left cheek and a small right cheek. A tooth in his mouth has been knocked out, and blood is constantly oozing from his mouth. Yinhao said, "Xiaosan, now you can go get the key to the room." Tang San glanced at Yinhao gratefully. Boots and boots, Hao Guo, thank you, brother Hao. Yinhao waved his hand. We are brothers, thank you for whatever you say. Tang San nodded, didn't say any more, and went to the counter to get the key. As for Zhao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing sitting in the back, they disappeared at some point. Brother Ho. Yinhao turned around and saw that it was Zhao Wu, but there was still no sign of Zhu Zhuqing, so he spoke. Zhao Wu, where is the Zhuqing people? Oh, I saw that Zhuqing's face was not very good, and I was worried that something would happen to her, so I sent her back to her room first. Just then a voice came. Sister Zhao, are you good enough to quit? Sister Zhao, long time no see. Zyro Wu looked along the voice, but found a humanoid creature with a big left face and a small face, still bruised and purple, greeting herself. How, brother Hao, who is this? Yinhao suppressed his smile and said, This is the mistress. Little San. Zyro Wu glanced at him in a daze. She saw Tang San being beaten before, but that was all. As for what Tang San became after being beaten, she didn't see it. It's expensive, don't try Kangshan. Yes, I'm Tang San. Zyro Wu didn't have Yinhao's acting skills, so she couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, little San, ha ha ha, how did you become like this, ha ha ha. This smile directly silenced Tang San. He glanced at Zyro Wu resentfully, but he wasn't too angry. After all, he was brother Hao's girlfriend. I could bear it. Zyro Wu, stop laughing. Yinhao scolded Zyro Wu softly, and Zyro Wu stopped laughing and bit her lip with her teeth, looking like she was having a hard time enduring it. Hao Guo, it's nothing, brother Hao, it's okay. It was okay that Tang San didn't speak, but as soon as he opened his mouth, Zyro Wu's defense was immediately broken. Ha ha ha, little San, you better stop talking, ha ha ha. Tang San. After returning upstairs, Yinhao, Zyro Wu and Tang San separated. Yinhao took out the key to his room from his pocket, handed it to Zyro Wu and said, Zyro Wu, you go and play in your room first, I'll go see Zhu Zhuqing. Zyro Wu didn't think too much, took the key, nodded and left. Yinhao walked to Zhu Zhuqing's room and knocked on the door. Dong dong dong. Then a voice came from inside. Zyro Wu, are you back? It's me, Yinhao. Hearing Yinhao's reply, there was a rustling sound in the room. After 2 minutes, the door of the room was opened. Although Zhu Zhuqing had tidied up a bit, the red eyes and bloodshot eyes were not so easy to get rid of. Brother Hao, what's the matter? Yinhao smiled and said, That's how you plan to talk to me, why don't you invite me in? Chapter 37, Blackened Zhu Zhuqing. That's how you plan to talk to me, why don't you invite me in? Zhu Zhuqing was taken aback when he heard the words, then he opened the door and invited Yinhao in. Yinhao was also polite, and went straight to the sofa and sat down. After Zhu Zhuqing hesitated for a while, he also sat on the sofa opposite Yinhao. Zhuqing, your state today is very wrong. I have experience in healing injuries, so you don't have to lie to me and say that the injury has recurred. Zhu Zhuqing lowered her head slightly, she really intended to say that. Seeing that Zhu Zhuqing remained silent, Yinhao continued. We've been together for a month now, right? Can we be considered friends? Zhu Zhuqing nodded. This time she did not hesitate. From rescuing her and treating her injuries, to recuperating in the wild together, to visiting Soto City together, of course they were friends, even her elder, the only friend so old. Well, we didn't know each other a month ago, and I don't know about your past, family and everything around you. If you don't mind, I think I can be a good confidant. Seeing that Zhu Zhuqing was still hesitant, Yinhao continued to trick him, and continued to persuade. Some things are like wine. If you keep it in your heart, it will only ferment more intensely. Speaking of it may have unexpected effects. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Yinhao, nodded, and spoke. Brother Hao, can I ask you a few questions? Yinhao nodded. Of course, we are friends, and aren't friends just for talking to. A smile appeared on Zhu Zhu's cold and frosty face, like an epiphyllum emerging from the ice and snow. Although it was short-lived, it was extremely beautiful. If you have an enemy, she is older than you, she cultivated earlier than you and is stronger than you, and the distance between you is so great that you can't see her at all, but you have a few years between you in the end, there must be a decisive battle, and the price of losing is death. Will you choose to fight with all your strength or run away from home? Yinhao pretended to be thoughtful for a moment, and thought about how to lead her astray. If you don't work hard, who would want to be a loser? Even if you lose, at least you will be worthy of yourself. But if you lose, you will die, but if you run away anonymously, you may still be able to survive, or even live well. When he said the last few words, Zhu Zhuqing's tone became obviously darker, and as expected, he was probably thinking of Dai Mubai. As if Yinhao didn't notice her strangeness, he stood up and said, I would rather die in battle than survive. After saying these words, Yinhao felt that his whole body was going to be sublimated. Come on, hurry up and carve me into a statue for future generations to look up to. Cough, cough, it's getting too far, let's get back to the topic, although he shouldn't be able to do it without accidents, but this doesn't prevent Yinhao from opening his mouth. I would rather fight and die than live in contention. Zhu Zhuqing opened her red lips lightly and silently recited Yinhao's words. Then he opened his eyes wide and looked at Yinhao. Then, what if you are two people and your companion runs away? Companion. Yinhao looked at Zhu Zhuqing seriously. Zhuqing, remember, when you are walking on the edge of life and death, you are a traitor. You are always more hateful than the enemy. Traitors are more hateful than enemies. Zhu Zhuqing suddenly smiled. From the time he knew Lin Lin to now, Yinhao had never seen her smile so brightly. She stood up, walked to Yinhao, and gently pressed her red lips on Yinhao's mouth. Although it was only for a moment, Yinhao was shocked. I didn't control the strength well. Another one was useless, right? Thank you, brother Hao. After just kissing Yinhao gently, Zhu Zhuqing let Yinhao go. But until Yinhao went out, the whole person was still a little dazed. It's over, another waste. Originally, according to Yinhao's idea, he only needed to let Zhu Zhuqing understand this truth, and then take the initiative to stay away from Dai Mubai, and then he could take advantage of it. But look at this meaning. I think I understand the truth, but why does it mean something dark? Yinhao shook his head. Forget it, don't think about it. What to do? There must be a way for the car to reach the mountain. Go back to your room and use the spare key to open the door. In the room, Zhao Wu had already fallen asleep, lying sprawled on the bed with no image at all, and there was a half-gnawed top-quality crystal radish beside her. The whole person was placed in a big shape on the bed, with a trace of crystal hanging on the corner of his mouth, and he didn't know what he dreamed of, and he was still muttering. Crystal carrot. Yinhao curled his lips helplessly. After 12 years of hard work in Douluo at present, 2 of Shrek's 3 beauties should have been destroyed by him, and only Enning Rongrong, who he has never met, is left, quite normal. Yinhao gently adjusted Zhao Wu's body, well, long and white. Then he fell asleep peacefully, with Zhao Wu in his arms. On the other side, Zhu Zhuqing was standing in front of the window, the cold moonlight shining on her beautiful side face, adding an evil charm to her charm. Traitor, he. The next morning, Zhao Wu woke up first, and felt the familiar pillow. She slept very sweetly last night. A voice came from Zhao Wu's ear. Aren't you going to let go yet? But Zhao Wu didn't seem to hear it, and even moved her long legs to Yinhao's body again. No, brother Hao is the most comfortable to hold. Zhao Wu, if you continue to act like this, I can't guarantee that I will do anything to you. Listening to Yinhao's threat words, Zhao Wu didn't show any fear at all, but hugged her even tighter. What does brother Hao want to do to me? I'm so curious. This rogue rabbit, but Yinhao was not polite. He hugged Zhao Wu's waist and directly pressed her under him. Even so, Zhao Wu didn't panic. Instead, she put on a cute and pitiful look. What is brother Hao going to do? I'm a little scared. In fact, Yinhao and Zhao Wu's relationship has been in place for a long time. It's just that she was too young before, so he didn't touch her, but now, there's nothing to care about. But at this moment, there was a knock on the door from outside. Brother Hao, are you there? We should go to the academy. I'm afraid we won't be able to line up if we go late. Yinhao let Zhao Wu go when he heard this voice, and yelled out the door. Understood. Then she turned her head and gently kissed Zhao Wu's face. I'll let you go this time, and next time you provoke me, I'll really eat you. After saying that, Yinhao turned around and went to get dressed, but what he didn't notice was that after he turned around, Zhao Wu had a look of disappointment on his face. Chapter 38 Shrek Academy. After a simple breakfast, Yinhao, Zhao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing and Tang San went all the way to Shrek Academy. After a night of cultivation and the medicine given by Yinhao, the swelling on Tang San's face has gone down by half. At least his speech won't be as slurred as before. What he just couldn't understand was that, for some reason, since eating in the morning until now, he had always felt that Miss Zhao Wu was looking at him in the wrong way, as if seeing himself was very uncomfortable. Tang San shook his head, wondering what he was thinking. It must be an illusion. He didn't provoke her. Why did she want to beat him? The four people inquired and searched all the way, and finally found Shrek Academy in a dilapidated small village. On the arch made of wood at the entrance of the village hangs a somewhat tattered plaque with 5 simple characters engraved on it, Shrek Academy. In front of these 5 characters, there is also a green head, which looks like the head of a humanoid monster. Zhao Wuji looked at Tang San and spoke unceremoniously. "Mistress, is this the monster-only Soul Master Academy your teacher recommended us to come to?" Tang San was also a little embarrassed, and carefully looked at the words on the plaque. Although it is written like a dog crawling, it is indeed the 5 characters of Shrek Academy. That, the teacher recommended us to come here, there must be something special about it. Tang San blushed, and only then could he hold back such a sentence. Zhao Wuji wanted to say something, but was stopped by Yinhao. "Okay, Zhao Wuji, don't talk about it. Since you're here, let's go and have a look." Hearing Yinhao's words, Zhao Wuji had no choice but to give up, and after giving Tang San a hard look, she didn't say anything else. Tang San glanced at Yinhao gratefully. In fact, he didn't know why. He obviously had nothing to do with Zhao Wuji, but even if Zhao Wuji criticized him or scolded him, he still wouldn't get angry. Yinhao and his party went to the back of the crowd to line up. There was a father and son in front of him, and the young man frowned and spoke. "Father, I don't want to go to school here, it's too embarrassing. I'd better go to Soto Intermediate Soul Master Academy. How to put it, I was considered a genius when I was in the junior academy." The middle-aged man also frowned. "Since you're here, just wait a little longer. Maybe this is a test. The real academy isn't here." The team moved forward slowly, and Yinhao looked around boredly. Not far in front of him, he saw a long-haired girl wearing a cyan skirt curiously looking at everything around her. If nothing else happened, she should be Enning Rongrong. After seeing Yinhao's gaze, Enning Rongrong smiled politely at him, and Yinhao responded in kind. Zhao Wuji saw everything in her eyes, but she just gave Yinhao a resentful look and didn't say anything. At the front of the queue was an old man sitting lazily on a chair, looking like a security guard watching the gate. At this time, a teenager came to the desk to sign up. The old man lazily said, "The registration fee is 10 gold soul coins, just put it in that box." The boy's accompanying father hurriedly took out 10 gold soul coins and put them in a box nailed from several pieces of wood. "Extend a hand." The young man stretched out his hand in front of the old man. The old man squeezed his hand twice, shook his head at him and said, "Your age is not suitable, you can go." The young man was stunned for a moment and turned to look at his father, looking a little unbelievable. His father hurriedly smiled and said, "Teacher, my son just celebrated his 13th birthday. Look, can you accommodate me?" The old man said impatiently, "Don't affect the people behind. Don't you know the rules of the academy? We only accept children under the age of 13. No one over the age of 13. You can go," the boy's father said, "then our registration fee." The old man said unceremoniously, "Once registered, it will not be refunded." The clay figurine still has 3 parts earthy nature. The boy's father couldn't help but said angrily, "You guys are obviously cheating money. Refund our registration fee, otherwise we won't leave. If we had known that the so-called Shrek Academy is so dilapidated, we wouldn't have done it. It's time to come." The old man glanced at him and said calmly, "Mubai, someone wants to return the fame fee, you can deal with it." On the ground next to it, a figure suddenly jumped up. "If you want to return the fame fee, it's okay. If you hit me, you will get it all back." The person who came was Dai Mubai. Although he was a coward when facing his brother and people from the Star Luo Empire, wouldn't it be easy to bully ordinary people? Dai Mubai didn't talk nonsense. He directly stimulated his own soul power, releasing all 3 soul rings of 200 years and 1,000 years. The surging soul power produced an invisible pressure in the air, and the cold light in the evil eyes flashed repeatedly, looking at the father and son. The expressions of the father and son, who could be Dai Mubai's opponents, changed and they ran away in a hurry. "Isn't this a robber?" Zhao Wuji couldn't stand it any longer. She turned her head and said to Yinhao. Yinhao smiled but didn't speak. In Douluo Continent, the purchasing power of a gold soul coin is still very strong. It can feed an ordinary family of 3 for 3 months. If you save a little, it will not be a problem for 4 or 5 months. 1 gold soul coin can last for such a long time, and the purchasing power of 10 gold soul coins can be imagined. After seeing this, many people in the team who were originally hesitant because of the appearance of Shrek Academy immediately left. The team was still moving forward slowly. Just like in the original work, a father and son walked up confidently and then left with a look of resignation after being cheated of 10 gold soul coins. And Li Yusong also revealed his martial spirit. A coiling dragon stick, surrounded by 6 white, yellow, purple, and black soul rings. He was obviously a soul emperor of level or above. The team was still moving forward, and soon they reached Ening Rongrong. After checking Ening Rongrong's bone age, Li Yusong said, "The bone age is qualified, release your martial spirit." Ening Rongrong nodded, and as a 7-color light bloomed in her body, a small pagoda-like glazed appeared on her right hand IQ. At the same time, 2 yellow century-old soul rings also appeared. "Can I pass?" Li Yusong frowned slightly and said, "You come here, does your family know?" Ening Rongrong didn't answer his question directly, but just smiled. "It is said that there is no discrimination in teaching. As long as I meet the requirements of the college, you have no reason not to accept me." Li Yusong nodded, waved his hand and asked Dai Mubai, who was standing behind him with his eyes shining, to step forward and say, "Take her in." Dai Mubai looked Ening Rongrong up and down, and licked his lips greedily. Ening Rongrong also noticed his demeanor immediately and frowned, but didn't say anything. Chapter 39, Oscar appears. After seeing Dai Mubai, Zhao Wu smiled and said directly, "Hey brother Hao, isn't this the big stupid tiger from yesterday?" Zhao Wu's voice didn't restrain itself. Dai Mubai could hear it clearly, then looked in the direction of the voice with an angry expression on his face. But the moment he saw Yinhao, the original angry look froze on his face. Li Yusong cast a curious look. "Mubai, did you know him?" "No, more than just acquaintance. His injuries on the back haven't fully healed yet." Dai Mubai nodded. "Yesterday I fought with them, but I lost." Li Yusong wasn't very interested when Dai Mubai said that he had fought with them. After all, as a student of their Shrek Academy, Dai Mubai has always followed their Shrek Academy's principle of not making trouble is a mediocrity, and making trouble every day no, fighting with him is nothing. But after hearing the words lost in the second half of the sentence, Li Yusong became interested. Dai Mubai is a level 37 soul master, and he also possesses one of the top beast martial souls, the White Tiger martial arts. Li Yusong was very interested in being able to defeat him. After Li Yusong took a careful look at Yinhao and the others, he kept them in mind, and then continued with the test. After a while, Yinhao and several others were already lined up. Before and after the 4 of Yinhao entered, Dai Mubai seemed to have seen something unbelievable, staring straight at Zhu Zhuqing. Also, today Yinhao did not use the blue-silver field to disguise Zhu Zhuqing's martial spirit. It is normal for Dai Mubai to notice it. This is what Yinhao did deliberately. It is interesting to be seen by him. "Hey, big stupid tiger, why are you looking straight at our Zhuqing?" Zhao Wu didn't tolerate him, so she spoke directly. Dai Mubai was angry at first when he heard the words, then after seeing Yinhao, he restrained his anger and stood aside sheepishly. The inspection was still going on. Tang San stepped forward first, and extended his hand to Li Yusong after paying the registration fee. Li Yusong touched Tang San's wrist, his brows gradually furrowed, then he looked at Tang San and said, "Did you practice any soul skills?" Tang San nodded. Then, just like in the original work, he asked Tang San to lift his calf. After touching the bones of Tang San's calf, Li Yusong nodded. "Okay, the bone age is right, let's release your martial spirit." Following a flash of blue light, a blue-silver grass that was too ordinary appeared in Tang San's hands, and 2 yellow spirit rings also emerged. Blue-silver grass, can blue-silver grass be cultivated so fast these days? Hearing Li Yusong's words, Tang San showed a smug smile on his face. "Teacher, should I pass?" Li Yusong nodded, then waved his hand to let Tang San pass. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing also passed the test one after another. However, Dai Mubai became distracted again after seeing Zhu Zhuqing release his martial spirit. This was also seen by Zhu Zhuqing and Yinhao. But Zhu Zhuqing didn't show anything, and didn't say anything to Dai Mubai. After the two of them finished testing, Yinhao stepped forward and followed the same steps. After testing the Bone Age, Yinhao also summoned the Blue-Silver Emperor Spirit. Soul Lord, 12-year-old Soul Lord. Li Yusong has lived to such an old age, and he thinks that he has seen many talented geniuses in his travels, but this is the first time he has seen a 12-year-old Soul Lord like Yinhao, not to mention that he is also a Lan Yinkao martial artist. Soul. Ening Rongrong, who was standing aside, was also very surprised. As the little princess of the Seven Treasures glazed sect, she had seen countless geniuses from all walks of life since she was a child. Not to mention, there were quite a few talented young people from her Seven Treasures glazed sect, but those who were born before the age of 12, there is no breakthrough soul master. Thinking of this, Ening Rongrong also developed a slight interest in Yinhao. It was not a relationship between a man and a woman, but she simply admired his talent and wanted to draw him into the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Late, Yusong calmed down and then greeted Dai Mubai. Mubai, just take him in. Yinhao walked forward and looked at Dai Mubai with a smile. Hello, my name is Yinhao. Some unpleasant things happened before, and I apologize to you. Dai Mubai obviously didn't expect that Yinhao would take the initiative to apologize. Besides, what happened yesterday was that he beat up the other person's friend first, and then Yinhao took action. No, it's okay, but brother, what you did was really dark. Yinhao smiled and did not respond, while Ening Rongrong, who had passed the test but did not leave, looked at him curiously. Hack it, how did it get hacked? Zhu Zhuqing also looked over curiously. On the other hand, Zyro Wu, who had been with Yinhao for 6 years, bit her lip lightly, almost laughing. Dai Mubai looked embarrassed, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and he quickly changed the subject. Nothing, okay, I'll take you to the second level quickly. Several people nodded. This time, because Zhu Zhuqing and Yinhao came together, Dai Mubai did not leave, but accompanied everyone to the second level. Just then, a soft voice came. Selling sausages, take a look, don't miss it when you pass by. Oscar brand sausages are delicious and sweet, cheap and abundant, only 5 copper coins apiece. Eat Oscar brand sausages, guarantee you easier to pass the entrance exam. I saw a middle-aged man wearing simple grey clothes, neat short hair, full beard, and a pair of big peach blossom eyes pushing a cart over. Brother Hao, it smells so good, you can buy one with me. Zyro Wu took Yinhao's arm, put it into the soft place in front of her body, and said coquettishly. But what she didn't notice was that Zhu Zhuqing behind her was looking at her with strange eyes at this moment, and then quickly looked away, as if nothing had happened. Dai Mubai naturally heard Zyro Wu's words, and scolded Uncle Sausage directly. Oscar, didn't I warn you? You are not allowed to sell sausages in the academy, you want everyone to be late and vomit. Tang San glanced at Dai Mubai a little strangely, not understanding why he had such a big reaction, so he asked directly. Why do you say that? The expression on Dai Mubai's face became a little strange. Zyro Owl, get a new sausage out. Oscar's expression suddenly became awkward. Boss Dai, no need. After all, we have been classmates for a few years, and you will make the new elementary school boy feel resentful towards me. Although Oscar tried his best to resist, he still reluctantly summoned the martial spirit due to Dai Mubai's pressure. The first soul skill, I have a big sausage. Hearing this, Zyro Wu and Ening Rongrong laughed directly. Tang San also smiled but couldn't help it. Zhu Zhuqing, on the other hand, glanced at Oscar with some disgust, then glanced at Yinhao before looking away. Chapter 40. Go directly to the 4th level. Hearing everyone's laughter, even if Oscar had a thick skin, he was still embarrassed and could only argue weakly. I can't help it. When using a food-type martial soul, if you want to change the food, you must match it with a different soul spell. My sentence is a spell, not what I want to shout. Besides, my sausage, there is no question about the quality. Although Oscar was already trying to defend himself, but unfortunately the laughter of the crowd was still there, Oscar could only stand aside awkwardly, and looked at Dai Mubai with help-seeking eyes, hoping that he could speak for himself. But he was disappointed. After Dai Mubai saw everyone laughing so happily, he completely ignored Oscar's look for help and laughed along with everyone. Okay, there's nothing funny. Every food department needs to say a spell before using soul skills. This is something they can't control themselves. After hearing Yinhao's words, Zhao Wu and others slowly calmed down. Oscar glanced at Yinhao gratefully and said, "This brother is still sensible." At first, everyone stopped laughing, but Oscar's, this brother, successfully made everyone laugh again, and it was the kind that couldn't stop. "Haha, that's how, brother, how he called you. Haha, he called you brother. This uncle actually called you brother." Zhao Wu laughed so hard that she couldn't stand up straight, bent over and held her stomach, laughing loudly. Originally, Oscar wanted to pat Yinhao on the shoulder, but before he dropped his hand, he heard everyone laughing again. He also has a beard and dresses like an uncle, so he doesn't blame others for thinking he is an uncle. Yinhao must not have laughed. He is Yinhao, who is willing to help others, is good at making friends, is sincere and friendly, and is a young man. Dai Mubai also laughed, more presumptuously than others. Oscar defended with a stiff expression. "What are you guys laughing at? I'm just 14 years old." When everyone heard this, their laughter paused for a second, followed by even louder laughter. Oscar's face turned red, not knowing how to explain it. But fortunately, Dai Mubai offered to help him this time. Ahem, that he is indeed 14 years old, and he is also one of the students of our academy. I don't know if it's because of the food martial arts, but his hair is much thicker than that of ordinary people. If he doesn't shave for a day, his beard will look like this. Therefore, he is also nicknamed Big Sausage Uncle in the academy. That's right, my hair is just a little thicker. I'm really just 14 years old. After some explanations, everyone accepted the identity of this uncle student, and after sincerely apologizing to him, they continued to walk into the academy. Arriving at the second level, Dai Mubai first stopped a few people, then walked up to the middle-aged teacher and whispered a few words in his ear. The middle-aged teacher nodded and said, "In this case, let's take them directly to the fourth level." His voice was not quiet, but the candidates waiting in line stopped. A young man said with a dissatisfied look on his face, "Teacher, what's going on? Why can they enter the fourth level without taking the test, but we have to pass every level?" The middle-aged teacher was not angry and just replied calmly, "If your soul power is also above level 25, then you can go directly to the fourth pass test without wasting time with me. But your soul power is only at level 21 in the current test, so you must have one past one item." The boy said with disbelief on his face, "Their soul power is above level 25. This is impossible. We are only 12 years old. How can there be such a high soul power?" Dai Mubai snorted coldly and said to the boy, "If you can't do it yourself, don't think that others can't do it either. When I entered the academy, my soul power was level 25. As he spoke, he picked up a crystal ball from the table and handed it to Tang San, who was nearest to him. Tang San didn't waste any time and directly injected his soul power. In an instant, the crystal ball released a burst of dazzling light. Although it couldn't light up all of the crystal ball, it also lit up most of it. Level 25 soul power. Dai Mubai directly spoke out Tang San's test results. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. The boy drooled and looked at Tang San in disbelief. Tang San also seemed to like this feeling very much, but he still pretended to be humble and handed the crystal ball back. The boy was still dissatisfied and pointed at Zhao Wu and the others behind him and continued. "What about them? They can't reach level 25, right?" Seeing that he still didn't give up, Dai Mubai handed the crystal ball to Zhao Wu again. Another burst of white light lit up, even brighter than during Tang San's previous test, almost filling the entire crystal ball. Level 29 soul power. After Dai Mubai revealed Zhao Wu's soul power, Zhao Wu jumped back to Yinhao, hugged Yinhao's arm and looked at Yinhao with a proud face, with 6 words written on his face: "Praise me quickly, praise me quickly." Yinhao raised his other hand and touched Zhao Wu's little head, and Zhao Wu closed her eyes with pleasure and let Yinhao touch her. Zhu Zhuqing's face couldn't help but become colder after seeing this, but she had a cold face, so no one noticed it. Taking the crystal ball from Zhao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing also injected soul power into it. Level 27 soul power. In fact, Zhu Zhuqing's talent is the worst among the Shrek 7 monsters in the original work, but even so, she relied on her own efforts to become the second person to break through the Soul Douluo in the original work, surpassing Dai Mubai, who was still in the Soul Saint realm, left behind directly. Next came Enning Rongrong with level 26 spirit power. When she handed the crystal ball to Yinhao, Dai Mubai hurriedly stepped forward to stop it. This made the originally very disappointed boy regain his spirits instantly. But before he could speak, he heard Dai Mubai's voice. Don't. This crystal ball can only test the soul power below level. If you use it, it will explode. 10 gold soul coins for each. Hearing these words, the young man who was originally expecting Yinhao to be incompetent was dumbfounded. 12 years old and level, are you crazy? I don't believe it. I don't believe that someone can reach level 12 at the age of. Before he finished speaking, Yinhao was blocked by 3 soul rings around him, and then he returned to the team with a shocked look on his face. The middle-aged teacher from the second level sitting aside could not help but smile and nodded. There are monsters every year, but this year there are especially many. There are 5 at once. Okay, it seems that I have hope for a salary increase. Mubai, please take the 5 of them to the 4th level together. Dai Mubai nodded and then greeted everyone. Let's go, I'll take you to the 4th level. Chapter 41, Unmoving Ming Wang's Zhao Wuji. Arriving at the venue of the 4th level, I saw a middle-aged man lazily lying on a chair and dozing off. Unsurprisingly, it must be Zhao Wuji. Mr. Zhao, I'm bringing someone to conduct the 4th test. Has anyone come to the 4th level this year? There are still 5. Zhao Wuji glanced at Yinhao and the others in surprise. This was the first time since Shrek opened the school that so many people came to the 4th level at the same time. Dai Mubai continued to face Zhao Wuji. Not only did 5 of them come to the 4th test, but they were all exempted from the 2nd and 3rd test. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji became interested, looked at Yinhao and the others, and then spoke. All 5 have surpassed level 25. Not bad. It seems that there are quite a few little monsters this year. This is my last test. After passing my test, you can officially become a member of Shrek Academy. However, my test is not so easy to pass. Actual combat experience is a must for every soul master. What I am assessing is your ability in this area. My name is Zhao Wuji. Since the 4 of you all passed the 2nd and 3rd levels without taking the test, then I will personally accompany you to play. Now I will give you a stick of incense time to understand and discuss with each other. After a stick of incense, the test began. The content of the test is that the 5 of you work together to resist my attack. As long as there is one person who can persist until the end, you will pass the test. I hope you understand, don't try to play tricks. No one can escape this range with speed. At the same time, I can also remind you that it is impossible to block my attack on my own. Coordination with each other is your only chance of success. Mr. Zhao, this is not very good, Dai Mubai said hesitantly. Zhao Wuji glared at him and said, There's nothing wrong, the dean is not here. I'm the oldest in the academy. I say good is good. Well, I'm going to light some incense. You don't have much time, so prepare yourself. Zairobai, you can also use my strength, the traits tell them to prepare them a little bit. After saying this, he didn't know where he took out a stick of incense, put his fingers on the tip of the incense, and lit the incense directly. With a snap of his fingers, the incense had already been inserted into the ground without trembling at all. After finishing these, Zhao Wuji sat back on his chair, closed his eyes and continued to sleep. Dai Mubai had no choice but to go back to Yinhao and the others and speak. Everyone, it's not that I won't help you. This time, it's really, Teacher Zhao wants to do it himself and there's nothing I can do. While talking, Dai Mubai also observed. He glanced at Zhu Zhuqing's reaction, but didn't see any change in the other party's expression. Zyro Wu waved her hands indifferently. If you do it yourself, you can do it yourself. Will there be a stick of incense soon? Brother Hao is here, even if he is the sole emperor. As he said that, the 2 hands holding Yinhao's arms became more and more forceful. Yinhao remained calm on the surface, but nodded slowly in his heart. It seems that Zyro Wu has indeed grown up. Dai Mubai gave Zyro Wu a blank look. He could see clearly that besides causing trouble, the girl next to Yinhao would look for her brother Hao. Dai Mubai continued, Teacher Zhao is not a soul emperor level soul master at level 76. He is a level soul saint, beast martial spirit, war soul saint. He is the deputy dean of the college, and his overall strength is second only to the dean. Soul Saint. Zhao Wu was also stunned. The soul sage of level 76 was still a beast soul. No matter how stupid she was, she could still imagine how difficult it would be to persevere under his command. Dai Mubai said with a wry smile. Originally, Mr. Zhao was only in charge of invigilating the fourth pass. Your opponent should be me. As long as you can hold a stick of incense in my hand, you will pass. But who knew that his string was wrong today, and he actually asked do it yourself. Mr. Zhao's martial soul is the vigorous Vajra Bear, a powerful beast martial soul. There is no flaw in his body, and his defense is extremely terrifying. Even a soul master of the same level as him, it is difficult to break through his defense and cause him harm. Damage. Although speed is not what Mr. Zhao is good at, the gap between you and his soul power is too big, and it is impossible to be faster than him in this respect. Mr. Zhao's strongest is attack power and defense. In the academy he has the nickname Fudo Mingwang. Not to mention the five of you, even if you add me, it may not be able to block his attack of Yijixiang. Now, I just hope that Mr. Zhao will not be so serious when attacking you. While talking, Dai Mubai also took a look at Zhu Zhuqing. He is now basically sure that the girl with the nether civet Wuhan is his fiancée. People came all the way to look for me and finally saw me. If teacher Zhao disturbed me, then I would be called a calf. Not to mention her figure. Dai Mubai licked his lips and had to say that the Zhu family's genes were good. Perhaps because he noticed Dai Mubai's gaze, Zhu Zhuqing gave him a cold look. Dai Mubai felt that he was wronged and hurriedly withdrew his gaze. And Enning Rongrong at the side suddenly exclaimed after hearing the words Dali Vajra Bear and teacher Zhao. He turned out to be Fudo Ming Wang Zhao Wuji. He has been missing on the mainland for 10 years, but I didn't expect him to be a teacher in Shrek Academy. Back then, Fudo Ming Wang Zhao Wuji had a problem with Wuhandian, and Wuhandian wanted to punish him. But he rushed out from the siege of 16 bishops. Afterwards, the incident was over. The bishops of the Wuhan temple are at least 60 or above Soul Emperor level powerhouses. At that time, Zhao Wukai should only be in the S. Isn't he even stronger now? Dai Mubai nodded silently and said, at least I have never seen Mr. Zhao attack with all his strength, so please ask for blessings. Among Mr. Zhao's 7 spirit rings, the first 2 are century-old soul's ring, the 3rd spirit ring and the 4th spirit ring are millennium, and the last 3 spirit rings are all 10,000 years. Moreover, the 7 spirit rings are attached to attack and defense. You should be able to imagine his horror. Now you get to know each other first, report your name and ability, and see how you can cooperate to best withstand teacher Zhao's exam. Mr. Yinhao showed a friendly smile, coupled with his handsome face. It was easy to make people like him. My name is Yinhao, and my martial spirit is a mutated blue-silver grass, a level 36 control system battle soul master. Zhao Wu also spoke, immediately after Yinhao finished speaking. My name is Zhao Wu, Wuhan Raogutu, a level 29 attack-type battle soul master. Tang San also hurriedly spoke. My name is Tang San, the spirit of blue-silver grass, a level 25 control system battle soul master. Enning Rongrong, Kai Wuhan 7 Treasures Glazed Tower, a level 26 auxiliary system soul master. Zhu Zhuqing, a ghost civet with a beast spirit, a level 27 combat soul master of the agility department. Chapter 42, Confronting Zhao Wukai. After Enning Rongrong finished talking about her martial spirit, almost everyone's eyes were focused on her. Enning Rongrong stuck out her cute little tongue and said, Don't look, I'm no different from ordinary people. I ran away from home. Let's wait until we pass the test before us. My martial soul is the 7 treasures glazed pagoda and 2 soul rings. I can tell everyone the difference. Enhance the attributes of speed and strength. The increase is about 30%. There is no problem in continuing a stick of incense. The sentence, I'm no different from ordinary people, made Tang San and the others who didn't know her well liked her a lot, thinking, she is really a well-bred lady. But Yinhao knows what kind of person Enning Rongrong is, unruly and willful, just a little witch. Tang San originally planned to arrange the tactics himself, but after taking a look at Yinhao next to him, he stepped back and said to Yinhao, Brother Hao, arrange your tactics. Yinhao was not polite and spoke directly. Okay, Rongrong will stand behind me to assist us. Zhao will be responsible for the main attack. Zhuqing can wait for opportunities on the flanks with his own speed. I will be responsible for the main control on the field. and Zairossen will be responsible for covering Zhuqing's sneak attack. You don't have any objections?" Everyone shook their heads to express no opinion. Yinhao thought of something again and pulled Zyro Wu. "Zyro Wu, when you attack for a while, you just need to hold Teacher Zhao back, and you will retreat immediately after 2 hits. Also, don't use your Charm Soul skill. The gap between you and Teacher Zhao's mental power is too big. There will be backlash." Zyro Wu nodded, and then everyone formed a formation, with Yinhao standing in the middle, Enning Rongrong at the back, Tang San standing on the right, Zhu Zhuqing standing in the front right, and Zyro Wu standing in the front left. As the stick of incense was burned, Zhao Wukai's voice came again. "Has everything been discussed?" Yinhao spoke directly. "Teacher, please give me some advice." Zhao Wukai nodded, took out another stick of incense, and still used the same method, lit it and stuck it on the ground. Enning Rongrong at the back was the first to summon the spirit, and as a beautiful small tower appeared in her hand, 2 yellow spirit rings also appeared. 7 treasures turn out with colored glass. One said strength. The second said spade. As the 2 rays of light entered the bodies of the 4 people in front, Yinhao and the others instantly felt their strength rise a bit. Zhao Wuji looked at Enning Rongrong with some surprise. "Good guy, one of this year's candidates is from the Kibao Liulai family. Not bad, not bad. Old Ghost Flanders must be excited this time." While saying this, he was not polite with his hands. He bent slightly and smashed it hard on the ground. A circular shock wave instantly spread wildly around the center of Zhao Wuwei's circle. Zyro Wu and Zhu Zhuqing were fast enough. They directly moved away from the one next to them, while Tang San used his blue-silver grass vines to bring himself to the sky. Yinhao did not hide. After all, it was just a casual blow from Zhao Wuji, nothing like it. With a wave of his hand, several ice thorns of blue-silver grass shot up from the ground, forming an ice wall, blocking Yinhao and Enning Rongrong behind. Zhao Wuji glanced at Yinhao quite unexpectedly and nodded slightly. Zyro Wu at the side grabbed Zhao Wukai's dazed kung fu and quickly stepped forward, kicking on Zhao Wukai's shoulder. Only a sound of dong was heard. Zhao Wukai was not injured at all. He glanced at Zyro Wu in a funny way, and just as he was about to catch Zyro Wu, Tang San's blue-silver grass on the other side wrapped around his arm, and Zhu Zhuqing, who had been looking for opportunities from the side, quickly launched an attack from behind Zhao Wuji. A pair of cat claws hit Zhao Wuji's body, making a ding-ding-ding sound. After all, Zhao Wuji is a soul sage. With 2 arms stretched out, a strong soul power emanates from his body, approaching the blue-silver grass wrapped around his body. The current Tang San has very little blue-silver emperor blood in his body, and both spirit rings have been balled by Yinhao. The toughness and strength of the blue-silver grass have been greatly reduced. Promise broke. At the same time, Tang San's face was also slightly pale, as if he had received the backlash from the spirit. Zhu Zhuqing was originally behind Zhao Wuji, and quickly retreated before he could turn around. Zhao Wuji ignored her and stretched out his hand to catch Zyro Wu, but a golden blue-silver grass vine fell from the sky and pulled Zyro Wu back. "Didn't I ask you to leave as soon as you missed the attack? Why are you so slow to retreat?" Zyro Wu stuck out her tongue. "I originally thought that Tang San and Zhuqing could stop him a little." Yinhao gave her a white look. This rabbit was raised and abandoned by him. After the first round of probing attacks, Zhao Wuji twisted his neck and moved his wrist. Every time he moved, he made a click sound. "Next, I will attack, and Zyrossen and Zhuqing will cover me." Yinhao shouted loudly, and the blue-silver domain instantly expanded, covering the entire field. Tang San nodded and stretched out his hand again. 2 blue-silver grass vines rose up on his left and right sides and quickly rushed in the direction of Zhao Wuji. Zhu Zhuqing didn't say anything, but at the moment Tang San's blue-silver grass blocked Zhao Wuji's sight, he quickly detoured to Zhao Wuji's other side, pinpointed his vital points and launched an attack. Even though he couldn't really hurt him, the constant attacks made Zhao Wukai very annoying. He attached his soul power to his hands and easily tore apart the blue-silver grass vines released by Tang San. Without the cover of the vines, Zhu Zhuqing had no choice but to retreat temporarily. The vines in front of him disappeared, and Zhao Wuji felt that his field of vision suddenly broadened, but before he could take in the scenery, the sky was full of ice thorns shooting at him. But Zhao Wuji didn't panic. he moved forward with both hands, and a barrier of soul power appeared in front of him. Although Yinhao's first soul ring has been around for thousands of years, and it was the soul skill brought to him by the Xuantan Ice Flood Dragon, he was only released by a soul master after all. Even if Zhao Wuji didn't summon the martial spirit, relying on the power of the spirit alone, he blocked Yinhao's ice thorns all over the sky. Before he could feel complacent, he felt something behind his waist. Looking down, he found a pair of tiny feet. Child, it's up to you." Before he finished speaking, Zhao Wuji felt something rise rapidly under his feet, and Zyro Wu behind him followed this force and exerted force rapidly. Yinhao's blue-silver grass on the soles of his feet dragged Zhao Wukai. Behind him was Zyro Wu's soft skills. With one click, Zhao Wukai jumped up into the air with both feet off the ground, then hit the ground with his head down and his feet up. Hearing a putchai, Zhao Wuji's head was instantly embedded in the soil. Zyro Wu also retreated to Yinhao's side after the attack was completed, and looked at Yinhao as if asking for credit. Chapter 43, Confronting Zhao Wukai. Zhao Wuji stretched his arms and pulled out his head. Zhao Wuji patted the dirt on his head and said angrily, "It's really a fucking 80-year-old woman who collapsed. It seems that I can't be more serious with you guys. Zyrobai, why are you laughing? Find me for a practical class tomorrow." Hearing this, Dai Mubai's smile stopped abruptly, and he looked at Zhao Wukai with a bitter face. "Ms. Zhao, don't go, can't you?" "What do you say?" Zhao Wuji glanced at Dai Mubai with a smile that was not a smile. Then he was so frightened that he quickly swallowed his words again. "It seems that I have to be serious." Subsequently, he let out a loud roar, and his height quickly increased to about 2.5 meters. Thick brown hair seemed to appear all over his body, and his already incomparably strong muscles swelled rapidly, reaching an astonishing level. The two palms quickly expanded and became as big as cattle fans. The sharp claws shone slightly in the sun. They looked like big bear paws. Yinhao and the others will definitely not wait until his martial soul is fully possessed before attacking. Yinhao mobilized his soul power, and countless 2-meter-long ice thorns of blue-silver grass quickly appeared in all directions of Zhao Wuji, forming a circle and piercing straight towards Zhao Wuji in the middle. Tang San's first spirit ring lit up, and the first spirit ability, Entanglement, was launched. A few blue-silver grass quickly climbed up Zhao Wuji's ankles and wrists, while Zhu Zhuqing stepped on the ice spikes of blue-silver grass summoned by Yinhao on Zhao Wuji's side and quickly stepped forward. After Zhu Zhuqing got close to Zhao Wuji, he decisively released the second soul skill. The second soul skill, Nether 100 Claws. Ding 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 ding. There was a sound, but unfortunately, only a few shallow white marks were left on Zhao Wuji's body. Zra. The first soul skill, Fudo King Body. Zhao Wukai is not the one who always gets beaten and never fights back, even though the group of people in front of him will become his students without accident. The majestic soul power belonging to a level 76 soul sage gushed out from him. And Tang San's blue-silver grass quickly broke without even holding on for half a second. But Yinhao hurriedly controlled the blue-silver grass to form a semicircle to block the attack for Zhu Zhuqing. Even so, Zhu Zhuqing was still sent flying by Zhao Wuji's majestic soul power. Dai Mubai has been paying attention to Zhu Zhuqing and just wanted to rush forward to catch her, but there was someone faster than him. A blue figure flashed past. Zhu Zhuqing fell steadily into Yinhao's arms. With the blue-silver emperor controlled by Yinhao protecting her from harm, Zhu Zhuqing was basically not injured, but her soul power was consumed a lot, and her face turned slightly pale. Zhu Zhuqing lay in Yinhao's arms, the corners of his mouth raised, and he spoke. "Thanks." Dai Mubai, who was standing on the side, also hurried forward. "Zhu, this classmate, are you okay?" Originally, he wanted to call Zhu Zhuqing by his name, but he seemed to think of something, and changed it to this classmate when the words came to his lips. Zhu Zhuqing put away his smile, gave Dai Mubai a cold look and ignored him. And Dai Mubai also remembered yesterday in the lobby of the Rose Hotel, Zhu Zhuqing seemed to have seen his affairs clearly, so he didn't react at all, just lowered his head slightly, avoiding Zhu Zhuqing's sight. Yinhao put Zhu Zhuqing down and spoke. "Zhuqing, go with him to rest for a while and leave the rest to me." Hearing Yinhao speak, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't keep still, so he had to look at Dai Mubai coldly and then left Yinhao's embrace. Tang San and Zhao Wu on the other side had already rearranged their formation, looking at Zhao Wuji on the opposite side very seriously. And Zhao Wuji didn't mean to take advantage of the victory to pursue the attack. If he chased a few people and beat them hard, let alone a stick of incense, even half a stick of incense would not be able to survive. What's more, he has already recognized the strength and talent of these students. Even if he lets it go a little bit, it doesn't matter. After Yinhao put Zhu Zhuqing down, he returned to the venue and looked at the stick of incense. 3/4 of it had been burned. At this time, Tang San's face turned slightly pale, and he suffered a lot of backlash from having his martial spirit broken several times. Zhao Wu was also slightly dressed in rough clothes, and Enning Rongrong, who had been assisting behind him, also had beads of sweat covering his forehead. Yinhao stood back in the middle, and Zhao Wukai on the other side also took an offensive posture. The two huge bear paws joined together and moved his wrist, making a click sound, and then stepped forward with two thick bear legs rushed towards several people. Rongrong, buff me. Enning Rongrong nodded. Even now she can tell that the others are at the end of their strength, not to mention the strength is far weaker than Yinhao. Instead of wasting soul power on others, it is better to use all the remaining soul power it is used to increase Yinhao's strength. After receiving the blessing of Enning Rongrong's soul power again, Yinhao first signaled to Tang San and Zhao on the side. The two immediately understood and began to interfere with Zhao Wuji, who was rushing over. Tang San concentrated the last soul power to release the blue-silver grass, blocking Zhao Wuji's sight, while Zhao Wu followed the cover of the blue-silver grass and quickly made a detour. But how could Zhao Wukai, who had several experiences, be tricked again? Without the slightest hesitation, with a shock of soul power all over his body, the blue-silver grass that Tang San used to block his vision broke into several knots. Without the cover of blue-silver grass, Zhao Wu was directly exposed to Zhao Wuji's sight and had no choice but to retreat. Blue and silver entanglement in a wide range. After Zhao Wu left Zhao Wukai's side, Yinhao directly released the ability of the second stage of the blue-silver domain, and the blue-silver area entangled. The evolution of the blue-silver domain is actually not difficult. All you need is a system. It may also be because the second-level skills are a bit weak, so Yinhao only spent a mere 1,000 gold soul coins, which is the same price as Ergayu's Sharingen. The third level is 1,000, and the fourth level is million. It is also the same price as Sangayu and Kaleidoscope. Back to the topic, after Yinhao released his skills, countless blue-silver emperors rose up under Zhao Wukai's feet, slowing down his already unhappy pace even more. Zhao Wuji covered his palms with soul power and struck hard at the blue-silver emperor who was standing in front of him. However, he underestimated the toughness of these blue-silver grasses. Under his attack, only the surface of the blue-silver grass was torn apart, that layer of blue-silver grass. This made Zhao Wuji's face a little uneasy. He is also a level 76 soul sage. If he can't win a child in his 30s, then if it spreads, how can he, old Zhao, mess around? Thinking of this, Zhao Wuji was no longer polite, and the second soul ring lit up. Second soul skill, Vigorous Vajra Palm. Although the quality of the blue-silver emperor's martial soul is far superior to that of the vigorous Vajra bear, the huge gap in soul power at level cannot be smoothed out by a mere martial soul. But in just a second, the blue-silver emperor standing in front of Zhao Wukai was completely broken. Chapter 44. The doctor said I have a bad stomach. But Zhao Wuji, who broke Yinhao's soul skill, did not stop, and then the fourth soul ring lit up. The fourth soul skill, location tracking. Zhao Wuji is not stupid. He has been in the world of soul masters for so many years. He knows the importance of the back row, so he is not polite. He directly sits down towards Enning Rongrong, who is behind Yinhao. This frightened Enning Rongrong. When she looked up, a big butt fell from the sky. At that moment, she stood there in a panic, not knowing what to do. Fortunately, Yinhao reacted quickly, first using the blue-silver Emperor Wuhan to stop Zhao Wuji's falling speed, then dodged to Enning Rongrong's side, grabbed her slender waist, and left the spot. But it was useless. As soon as the two of them left the spot, Zhao Wuji, the human tracking missile, came after him again. Blue-silver range-wide entanglement. Countless blue-silver grass soared into the sky again, weaving into a big net in midair, trying to stop him. Zhao Wukai smiled with some disdain. Boy, today I will show you the huge gap between the Soul Master and the Soul Saint. The second soul skill, the powerful Vajra Palm. In less than a second, countless blue-silver grasses became fragments and fell in the air. But after Zhao Wuji broke the blue-silver grass net, Yinhao and Enning Rongrong were not below, but a blue ice dragon roaring towards him. Zhao Wuji obviously did not expect this move, although he hastily used his soul power to smash the ice dragon. But it was too late. The ice dragon was not slow in the first place, and it was even more blessed by Yinhao's blue-silver field, and it crashed directly into Zhao Wuji. I saw that Zhao Wukai, who was in the air, flew out in another direction before he had time to land. On the other hand, Yinhao on the ground was panting heavily. A few huge beads of sweat appeared on his handsome face, and a series of soul skills had exhausted his soul power, so he could only be carried by Enning Rongrong. Stand there. Enning Rongrong didn't show any dissatisfaction with Yinhao leaning on him. First, he just saved him. Second, his soul power was consumed too much, which is understandable. In the end, Yinhao, after awakening the Blue-Silver Emperor's bloodline, it looks really good. If you change it to an ugly one, you will probably help him to the side to rest. Zhao Wukai stood up shaking his head, spit out 2 mouthfuls of dirt that he accidentally ate in his mouth. His face was not much whiter than the bottom of the pot. Today, my old Zhao really capsized in the gutter and stumbled in front of the mouse hole. While talking, he brought up his soul power and prepared to attack again. Although Yinhao's attacks looked scary the last few times, they did hit Zhao Wuji, but Zhao Wuji, who was possessed by the martial spirit, had rough skin and thick flesh, so he didn't care about this kind of attack that didn't hurt or itch at all. But it's really a shame to be ashamed. Just when Zhao Wuji was about to continue to fight, Zyro Wu at the side hurriedly said, "Hey, that stupid guy, ahem, Teacher Zhao, the incense has been burned, our exam is over, right?" Hearing Zyro Wu's words, Zhao Wukai turned his head and looked, as expected, the incense that was still burning before. Now there is only a bottom left, and it has been extinguished. Zhao Wuji gritted his teeth, but after all, this is his student, not some life-and-death enemy. Seeing that the incense has been burned, he has no intention of continuing. "Okay, you guys passed. I'll let Zyrobai arrange a dormitory for you later." After speaking, he turned around and picked up the chair he was lying on before, and was about to leave. Before he left, he turned his head and said to Dai Mubai, "Zyrobai, hurry up and make arrangements for them. Come and find me later. I will give you a practical lesson." "What?" After hearing this, Dai Mubai instantly turned into a bitter face, but he didn't dare to refuse, so he could only show his face and nodded. Then he called Yinhao and the others to go to the dormitory. At the same time, in an unnoticed corner, a scruffy middle-aged man in a black robe and beard was staring at Yinhao's back in a daze. "Yin, blue-silver domain, have you seen it? Our son can release the blue-silver domain." "Back then, the thing is that I was confused. I'm sorry for you, but I will make up for our son." Zhao Wuji. The middle-aged man looked at the direction Zhao Wukai left with a cold face. A cold light flashed in his eyes. On the other side, Zyro Wu took Yinhao from Enning Rongrong, then half-carried him and followed Dai Mubai towards the boys' dormitory. Originally, Shrek was 4 boys in the original book, and it was just right for 2 of them to share a dormitory, but now with Yinhao added, he must live in a single room alone, and at Yinhao's initiative, he lived in a single room by himself, in the dormitory. "Zyro Wu, haven't you been assigned a dormitory? What are you doing?" Yinhao looked at Zyro Wu, who was lying on his bed, somewhat helpless. "You said make the bed and make the bed. Why did you lie on it by yourself after making the bed?" Zyro Wu stretched out on the bed, and with her movements, the clothes on her waist also showed a piece of white, but she didn't care. "I want to sleep with Brother Hao Tilda." "Okay, don't make trouble. You go back to your dormitory first. I have consumed a lot of soul power today. I need to recover." Seeing what Yinhao said, Zyro Wu didn't say anything more, just pouted and reluctantly got up from the bed. "Then give me a kiss and I'll go." Yinhao was also polite and kissed Zyro Wu's mouth with a barda. Only then did Zyro Wu leave contentedly. Yinhao looked at the back of Zyro Wu leaving. Yinhao shook his head with a smile. This rabbit is really. Then he glanced at his account balance, and there were more than 7,000 gold soul coins left. "Hey, get some money." "It's not suitable for BB Dong. Let's not make any excuses. Even if the amount is too big, they may not give it to you, and the amount is too small. it's useless to me, hey, worry. No. Yinhao stood up and walked to the window, just in time to watch Zyro Wu walk into the girls' dormitory, while Zhu Zhuqing and Enning Rongrong were sitting at the door of the girls' dormitory chatting. A smile curled up on the corner of Yinhao's mouth. He coughed. The doctor said I have a bad stomach. As the night slowly fell, Zhao Wuji, who was sitting in the room drinking tea with a depressed face, noticed something was wrong, and hurriedly put down his teacup and looked out the door. "Zhu, you come out." A slightly hoarse voice came from outside the door, making Zhao Wuji even more angry. Originally, he suffered 2 humiliating losses at the hands of those half-grown children during the day. Although it did not cause any substantial harm to him, it was mainly embarrassing. But he is his student after all. Even if he suffers, Zhao Wuji can't say anything, so he can only drink tea in his dormitory full of resentment. As a result, before his anger subsided, someone came to make trouble first. Zhao Wuji was not a good-tempered person, so he pushed open the window and ran away. Chapter 45, The Beaten Zhao Wuji. After coming outside the house, Zhao Wuji instantly possessed his spirit and looked around vigilantly. "Don't be so pretentious, come out, I know you are here." A black figure slowly came out from behind a big tree. This man's whole body was covered in black clothes, and he even wore a black hood on his head. From his appearance, it could only be seen that he was a tall man. Who else could he be but Tang Hao? "Who are you?" Zhao Wuji shouted in a cold voice. He completed the possession of the Wuhan powerful Vajra bear. His whole body exuded a wild aura, and he was not angry and majestic. Tang Hao didn't answer his words, but just said lightly, "Seeing Fudo might row in this small place, I just want to compete with you. I haven't exercised for a long time." Then without further ado, with a stretch of his right hand, the clear sky hammer martial soul appeared instantly, and 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple and 5 black, also appeared, especially the 9th black soul ring, which faintly revealed light red in the black. It looks overwhelming. Seeing the man in black in front of him releasing 9 soul rings, Zhao Wuji felt like a splash of cold water, and shivered all over his body. "Seal, titled Douluo." Zhao Wuji said these words tremblingly, and the arrogance he had before was gone. "May I ask which senior is here? Don't make jokes with the little one. How can I be worthy to compete with you?" "Hey. Tang Hao sneered twice and said, "What's wrong with it? Isn't it good to bully those children during the day? I found that bullying seems to be a good feeling. Let me bully you too. Of course, you can think that it's bullying." Zhao Wuji is stupid. At most, I just went to see the abilities of these children in the name of taking an exam. You are going to tear me down." But he didn't dare to resist. If he didn't resist, he might still have a way to survive. If he resisted, he would probably have to explain it on the spot. And from what this senior said, he probably didn't intend to kill me, otherwise he wouldn't have said so much nonsense to me. Suddenly, when he was about 10 meters away from Zhao Wuji, Tang Hao stopped. "Since you're here, come out. What's the difference between 1 and 2? While the figure flickered, there was someone more beside Zhao Wuji. It was Flender. After he appeared, the expression on Zhao Wuji's face suddenly relaxed a little. "Boss, this senior." Flender waved to him, signaling him not to speak, and then saluted. "Greetings to His Majesty Haoshan." When Zhao Wuji heard this, he was stunned. His brain was running rapidly, but he could never imagine that he had any interaction with this ruthless man, let alone offended him. Tang Hao said coldly, "Don't be too polite, I'm here to ask for trouble. Al Wuhan, level 78, is worthy of being Flender who fought in the Golden Triangle back then. This Shrek Academy is yours, right?" Flanders nodded and spoke. "Yes, Myenxia, I don't know how Zhao Wuji offended Mr. Myenxia. Can you give me a little face?" "Humph." Tang Hao snorted coldly and said, "Stop talking nonsense and stand aside, otherwise I'll beat you up too. Zhao Wuji, I'll give you a chance. I won't use martial arts. If you can hold on to my hand for as long as a stick of incense, I'll leave immediately without saying a word. Otherwise, you have to do something for me." Zhao Wuji smiled bitterly and said, "My lord Heishimian, I really don't understand what offended you. Can you explain clearly first?" "Zyro-san and Zyro Hao are my sons. If the younger one is beaten, the older one will naturally stand up and seek justice. This is a matter of course. Let's do it." Hearing this, Zhao Wuji gave Tang Hao a shocked look. "Tang San and Yinhao are yours." Then he turned to look at Flanders, only to see that he was also confused. Tang Hao stopped talking nonsense and mobilized his soul power to prepare to take action. But when Flanders saw that Tang Hao was serious about it, he gave Zhao Wuji a look of "you wish for it" and stepped aside. Then Tang Hao's figure disappeared instantly, and Zhao Wuji felt a heavy blow in front of him before he could even react. Boom boom don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. The sound of collisions, surging sounds of vigor, muffled groans, and screams resounded in the woods one after another. Flender, who was spreading his wings beside him, couldn't help but cover his eyes and turned his head, unable to bear to look again. Early the next morning, Xiao Wu brought Enning Rongrong to Yinhao's door. Boom boom boom. Brother Hao, are you awake? The sun is drying your ass. Yinhao opened the door, looked at Enning Rongrong outside the door, was slightly taken aback, and then gave her a friendly smile. But before he could speak, Enning Rongrong spoke first. Hello Yinhao, I'm here to express my gratitude for what happened yesterday. Thank you for saving me. Yinhao almost forgot. After she said this, he remembered that he had rescued her during the battle with Zhao Wuji yesterday. That's nothing. You're welcome. Enning Rongrong shook her head. My father said that all kindness must be repaid. If you don't mind, I would like to treat you and Xiao Wu to a meal. Yinhao thought for a while and agreed. Putting aside the little witch's character, Enning Rongrong's tutoring was still okay, but she was spoiled by her two-titled Douluo. A group of 3 walked towards Soto City. When they passed by a group of houses, a voice suddenly came from their ears. Ma Hongjun, don't look for me again. I won't be with you anymore. Qisua, did I treat you badly? Why did you break up with me? Hearing that there was something lively to watch, Xiao Wu's 2 rabbit ears stood up again. She looked curiously at the source of the sound, and even tugged on Yinhao's clothes, trying to make Yinhao stop. Yinhao glanced at her helplessly. Having read the original book, of course he knew who was talking. Enning Rongrong was also a little curious, and looked aside along Xiao Wu's line of sight. I saw a farm girl and a fat man with short red hair pulling each other. You're nice to me, but I can't stand you. We're not suitable, you should find someone else. Besides, I'm several years older than you. Please, don't look for me again. Hearing this, Ma Hongjun became angry from embarrassment. What do you mean you can't stand me? I really don't understand what you girls are thinking. It's okay to break up. If you come to me again, I will break up with you. Otherwise, there is no way. While talking, he was preparing to go to Qisua. Qisua was also so frightened that her face turned pale, and she kept backing away, trying to escape Ma Hongjun's clutches, but she was an ordinary person, so how could she be faster than Ma Hongjun? Ma Hongjun grabbed his hand directly, unable to move. Xiao Wu couldn't stand it anymore, and immediately stepped forward and said sternly, "Stop, what are you doing?" Chapter 46. Seeing someone meddling in other people's business, Ma Hongjun was stunned for a moment, turned his head and saw Xiao Wu approaching with an angry face. Ma Hongjun's eyes lit up with her exquisite face. What a beautiful girl. What, do you want to replace her as my girlfriend? Yes, no problem, I agree. Upon hearing this, Xiao Wu's face turned dark. Yinhao also frowned, and his look at Ma Hongjun became dangerous, and then he walked forward with a cold smile. In broad daylight, there is still a scene of robbing civilian girls. Little fat man, you are very courageous. There are 2 things that Ma Hongjun hates the most in his life. One is saying that he is fat, and the other is saying that his martial arts spirit is a loser. Usually Dai Mubai calls him fat. It's fine, after all he can't beat him, and this little boy in front of him dares to call him fat. You little boy, Grandpa doesn't have time to talk to you today. If you are sensible, send me the little girl next to you and then get out of here. If you don't, I'll let you see my evil phoenix, Ma Hongjun. Sharp. Ha ha, then let me see. Yinhao didn't talk nonsense. Let's not talk about this fat man's character. He would not let him off easily if he just teased his girlfriend. What's more, Yinhao didn't like him in the first place. Hearing Yinhao's words, Ma Hongjun was still somewhat dismissive. For so many years, he had never been afraid of anyone among his peers except Dai Mubai, and he didn't even look down on this pretty boy in front of him. What do you want to see? Ah. Before he finished speaking, Yinhao stepped forward and kicked him several meters away. Ma Hongjun was still a little confused. He really didn't see how Yinhao, who was a few meters away, came to him in a flash, but this did not prevent him from getting angry. Babyface, you succeeded in irritating me. Phoenix possession. Purple red light surged out of Ma Hongjun's body. The short hair on his head suddenly grew longer and gathered towards the center, turning into a mohawk-style hairstyle. The wings didn't appear, but as soon as the purple red light leaked out of the body, it immediately released intense heat. 2 circles of yellow soul rings rose from his feet at the same time, and long feathers extended from his thick bare arms. The hands also became claw-shaped. Seeing his appearance, Zhao Wu couldn't help but turned back to look at Enning Rongrong and said, "Rongrong, look at him, he looks like a phoenix. Isn't he just a grass chicken? Haha." Enning Rongrong also laughed. "More than that, he's just a fat chicken." "Ah, who do you think is a bastard?" Ma Hongjun was completely angry. He could accept calling him fat, but he couldn't stand calling him a stupid martial artist. The first soul ring on his body lit up, and a purple-red flame spurted out from his mouth, flying quickly towards Zhao Wu and Enning Rongrong, who were still laughing. The first soul skill, Phoenix Fireware. Enning Rongrong was shocked and stood there not knowing what to do, but Zhao Wu looked not worried at all. Her brother Hao was still beside her, so what was the reason for panic? Sure enough, when Ma Hongjun's Phoenix Fire line approached the two of them, a wall of blue-silver grass ice instantly rose up, blocking the flames. Originally, Ma Hongjun was disdainful when he saw Yinhao summoning Wuhan blue-silver grass to intercept his own flames. Use grass to block the fire, joke. But before he could laugh out loud, the flames hitting the blue-silver grass were extinguished without even making waves, while the blue-silver grass ice wall remained unscathed. Ma Hongjun was not a fool. He had a bad feeling at that time, but it was still too late. 4 blue-silver grass ice spikes spurted out on the ground, directly piercing through the clothes of his limbs and fixing him to the tree. Ma Hongjun panicked, and just about to beg for mercy, he was punched in the face by Yinhao. Forcibly robbing women, right? Ma Hongjun looked at Yinhao with an angry face, but before he could speak, he punched the other half of his face again. "I'll bring it to you, right?" 2 punches in Ma Hongjun's face in a row. The hot feeling instantly stimulated his brain. Zhao Wu behind her was still on fire. "Brother Hao, you played well. Whoever let this little fat man do bad things next to our Shrek Academy deserves it." Enning Rongrong also recovered from the shock just now, and joined Zhao Wu in the fire. That's right. As college students, we should protect the safety of the villagers, and we should teach him a severe lesson for this scum of the Soul Master world." Yinhao nodded and slapped Ma Hongjun's big fat face again. Originally, Ma Hongjun's eyes lit up when he heard what Zhao Wu and Enning Rongrong said. They were also in Shrek's Academy and should have been newly admitted yesterday. Wait, he just wanted to say that he was also a student of Shrek, and it was a misunderstanding, but just as he said, "Wait," he was interrupted by Yinhao's slap. "Snapped, what are you waiting for? Waiting for you to rob a common girl." Ma Hongjun quickly shook his head, almost crying. "No. Snapped, it's not what. Isn't it true that you just raped a civilian girl?" "I." "Snapped, what are you doing? Are you still justified in robbing civilian girls?" While Yinhao was playing, Zhao Wu was clapping. "Brother Hao, well played. This kind of person should treat him like this." Enning Rongrong also nodded in agreement. Ma Hongjun felt that if he didn't explain clearly, the white-faced boy in front of him would be beaten to death. "I am she." "Snapped, you also know that you are shit. You are worse than shit." Ma Hongjun was almost crying. Why didn't anyone stop talking? But he didn't dare to explain anymore. He was afraid that he would be beaten if he spoke again, so he could only look at Kuishua, who was already stunned with pleading eyes. After receiving the request from Ma Hongjun's eyes, Kuishua came to her senses and hurried forward to organize Yinhao. "Stop fighting. In fact, Hongjun is a good person, but we are not suitable, so I can only break up with him. You go away, I will make it clear with him." Hearing this, Zhao Wu became even more angry. "Girl Kuishua, are you afraid that this idiot will retaliate against you in the future? Don't worry, we are here. We are students from Shrek Academy not far away. If he bullies you again, you can just come to us directly." Ma Hongjun is stupid. How can this not be explained? So he hurriedly spoke. "I do not have." "Snapped, shut your mouth." As soon as he opened his mouth, he received another slap from Yinhao next to him. At this time, Ma Hongjun's already bloated face had gained several circles of fat, It was longer horizontally than vertically, and he looked like a big pig's head. The palm prints on both sides were red and white on the face. At this moment, a voice came from behind the crowd. "Ah how, Zyro Wu Rong, what are you doing here?" Chapter 47, Pig-Headed Ma Hongjun. Yinhao and the others who heard the voice looked back and saw Dai Mubai, dressed in white and with extremely neatly combed hair, walking towards their direction. Ma Hongjun burst into tears the moment he saw Dai Mubai. He had never looked forward to Dai Mubai's appearance so much in his life. Zyro Wu replied sharply. "What else can we do? Catch a fat man who robs the women of the people and bullies the villagers because he is a soul master, so we ran into him." Dai Mubai nodded after hearing this. When he got closer, he saw Ma Hongjun fixed to the tree by the ice spikes of blue-silver grass. "Oh, who is this? Why does he look so unique?" Ma Hongjun was dumbfounded when he heard this, and hurriedly spoke. "Dai boss Dai, it's me, Fatty." Hearing this voice, Dai Mubai was stunned for a moment, and then he went up and down a lot. It was really a fat man's clothes, and Kyuhyua Dai Mubai, who was standing beside him, also recognized him, which made him even more sure that the person in front of him was a fat man up. After seeing Ma Hongjun's tragic situation, Dai Mubai laughed directly. "Ha-ha, says Fatty, ha-ha, now, ha-ha, he has really turned into a pig head, ha-ha, sir." Dai Mubai smiled out of breath, and Ma Hongjun, who was still fixed to the tree, looked at him with resentful eyes. Finally, after a while, Dai Mubai finally stopped laughing. After calming down, he turned to Kyuhyua and said, "Miss Kyuhyua, can you not stand him anymore?" Kyuhyua blushed, nodded, turned and ran. Ma Hongjun looked at Kyuhyua's leaving back and sighed secretly, but he didn't stop her anymore, mainly because he was afraid of being beaten and didn't dare to speak. Then Dai Mubai turned to Yinhao and said, "Ah Hao, I think you have misunderstood. Do you remember that I once told you that there are only 3 students in the academy, including me?" Hearing this, Yinhao looked at Dai Mubai with surprise on his face, and then at Ma Hongjun, who was still nailed to the tree. "What you mean is, he is?" Dai Mubai nodded. "Yes, he is Ma Hongjun, the last student of our Shrek Academy. You should put him down first." Yinhao nodded, and with a wave of his hand, he retracted his soul power. The blue-silver grass ice spikes made by losing Yinhao's soul power fell off instantly, and Ma Hongjun also successfully fell off. The moment he stood on the ground, Ma Hongjun felt that he had never been so eager for the earth. Then Dai Mubai looked at Ma Hongjun with a complaining face. "Fat man, you said so are you? We just finished recruiting students yesterday, and today there are a few more soul masters about our age in the village. If you think about it with your brain, you will know that they are from our academy. Why didn't you know that you are also a student of Shrek, so that there are so many things?" Ma Hongjun looked at Dai Mubai with a grieved expression. Doesn't he want to say it? This black-hearted white-faced boy never let him say a complete sentence. If you hadn't come here, my majestic evil fire phoenix Ma Hongjun would have been beaten to death by this white-faced boy. Before he could answer, Yinhao on the side spoke first. "I can't blame him. It's also my fault. I didn't ask about the situation beforehand. How about it? I have 2 bottles of good medicine for trauma, and I'll give it to you as an apology." Ma Hongjun looked at Yinhao incredulously with a pig's head on his head. He really didn't expect Yinhao to apologize to himself. Although he was not a very generous person, it was a fact that he couldn't beat him, and he also apologized, so he had no choice but to swallow his breath. Then he took the medicine from Yinhao and pretended to smile generously. "It's okay, it's all a misunderstanding. I'm not a grudger, let the past go." Congratulations to the host for trading 2 bottles of medicine to get Ma Hongjun's 2nd soul ring. The lifespan is 20 years. Do you want to claim it? "I beat you, but you can't blame me, and you still want to give me benefits in the end. Is there anything more comfortable than this?" Yinhao also responded with a smile. "Well, since it was a misunderstanding, let him go. We will all be classmates in the same college from now on. We still have to help each other." Later, at Yinhao's suggestion, Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun went to Soto City to have breakfast together, and then Yinhao paid for it despite Yinhao's firm attitude. Then another system prompt sounded. "Congratulations to the host for getting Dai Mubai's 3rd soul ring in exchange for a meal. The lifespan is 50 years. Do you want to claim it?" Congratulations to the host for getting half a level of Ma Hongjun's soul power with a meal deal. Do you want to claim it? Congratulations to the host for getting Zhao Wu's first soul ring in exchange for a meal. The lifespan is 20 years. Do you want to claim it? Congratulations to the host for getting half a level of Enning Rongrong's innate soul power with a meal deal. Do you want to claim it? After returning to the dormitory, Yinhao converted the transaction between Zhao Wu and Enning Rongrong into gifts, and then collected the transaction rewards from Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai. Of course, he didn't forget to bring food to his best friend, classmate Tang San, and gained another level of soul power. But what he got from the little wild cat was a kiss, and for some reason, Yinhao always felt that since the Rose Hotel finished talking to her that day, Zhu Zhuqing looked at him a little bit wrong. After eating at noon, several people heard the sound of gathering in the large playground and headed to the playground one after another. After arriving at the playground, Ma Hongjun swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva, unconsciously looking at Zhu Zhuqing in front of him. Coupled with his still swollen pig head, he really is a veritable pig brother. After Dai Mubai noticed Ma Hongjun's eyes, he slapped Ma Hongjun's arm. Be honest, it's best to suppress the evil fire. Ma Hongjun was a little unhappy. Why are you planning to attack again? I say, Boss Dai, even if you are the boss, you should always leave some soup for your brothers. Hearing this, Dai Mubai quickly pushed Ma Hongjun again, and then quickly looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Seeing that she didn't respond, he was relieved. On the other hand, Oscar, who had shaved his beard, made people slightly stunned. His peach eyes were slightly sunken, his face was like a crown of jade, and he looked very good. After everyone gathered on the playground not long after, a tall, middle-aged man with a protruding chin, wide cheekbones, a flat face and a slender face walked over. He should be Rand. At the moment when he first saw Ma Hongjun, Flender was also taken aback, thinking, where did this pig-headed boy come from? However, under everyone's explanation, it was confirmed that the person in front of him was his student Ma Hongjun. This year is very good. We have 5 more little monsters. I, Shrek Academy Dean Flender, welcome you on behalf of the Academy. Later, each of you will hand over 100 gold coins to Mr. Li, who is in charge of finances. Afterwards, as in the original book, everyone was dismissed, and the sole masters of Oscar and Enning Rongrong, 2 auxiliary departments, arranged for them to go for a run on the grounds of teaching. Yinhao, who was familiar with the plot, made an excuse and told Flanders that he needed to go to Soto City to buy some cultivation-related items, and then set off for Soto City. Chapter 48, Enning Rongrong by Pua Yinhao was eating melon seeds on the only way from Shrek Academy to Soto City, lying on a chair made of blue-silver grass, waiting for Enning Rongrong's arrival. In less than half an hour, I saw a figure in a cyan skirt walking happily from far to near. Enning Rongrong didn't notice Yinhao lying on the side of the road until Yinhao called her to stop. Stop! Enning Rongrong was stunned for a moment, stopped, and looked towards the source of the sound. She saw a man with long blue hair and a handsome face sitting on a recliner, looking at her with a half-smile. You scared me, I thought Flanders was there. Yinhao stood up and walked to Enning Rongrong step by step, circling her twice while looking her up and down. How can you be sure that I am not sent by the dean to intercept you? Enning Rongrong frowned after hearing this. You were sent by Flanders to stop me. Yinhao stopped and stood in front of Enning Rongrong, looking at her seriously. No, I just want to make a joke with you. Enning Rongrong glanced at him speechlessly. Why are you so serious? Scared the old lady. But just listen to Yinhao continue to say. Although I wasn't sent by the dean, if I guess correctly, you probably couldn't stand the intensity of the training and ran out secretly, right? Enning Rongrong frowned and looked at Yinhao. Yes, then are you going to inform Flender? Yinhao smiled and shook his head. I haven't been in a good mood lately. If someone can accompany me around Soto City, I might be in a better mood. When I'm in a good mood, I won't bother to tell the truth. Hearing this, Enning Rongrong immediately smiled. She came out to play. Wouldn't it be better to have one more person with her? Okay, let's go together then. Immediately, he disappeared, pulled Yinhao's arm, and walked towards Soto City with a smile on his face. The two of them first went to a high-end restaurant for a meal. Originally, Yinhao wanted to pay, but Miss Enning just threw out a small bag of gold soul coins. It looked like there were at least a dozen of them and said, no need to look for it. Then he led Yinhao out of the hotel with the boss's words of gratitude. In the afternoon, the two walked from the restaurant to the snack street and even visited the grocery store. Coming out of it, Enning Rongrong looked at what was like a dumbbell in Yinhao's hand and couldn't help asking curiously, "Yinhao, why are you buying this?" Yinhao smiled mysteriously. "Buy and play." Although Enning Rongrong was puzzled, he didn't continue to ask, but continued to stroll around for a while and returned to Shrek with Yinhao when it was getting dark. As night fell, the 8 people who had been scattered reunited on the playground. Flender scanned the crowd and then set his sights on Oscar and Enning Rongrong. It's still the same dialogue as in the original work. Oscar's dog licking came online, but he gritted his teeth and didn't betray Enning Rongrong, and then was forced to run around in circles by Flanders, who had his soul power sealed away. Flender then turned his attention to Enning Rongrong. "Tell me, did you finish the lesson I assigned this morning?" Enning Rongrong was not afraid of him, and directly admitted it. "I didn't, the distance was too long and I was hungry, so I couldn't hold on." Flanders said calmly, "So you went to Soto City alone, and you met Yinhao on the way, and the two of you had a big meal in the restaurant together, and you just came back after wandering around the city, right?" Enning Rongrong looked at Flanders with disbelief on his face. "You follow me?" Flender did not answer her words, but shifted his gaze to Yinhao again. "Yinhao, didn't you say you went to the city to buy things needed for cultivation? Now you." Before he finished speaking, Yinhao waved his right hand gently, and the space ring on his hand released the dumbbell he bought before. Yinhao held it in his hand and said, "Dean, didn't I buy it?" Flender was stunned for a moment, but continued to speak. "It only takes a few minutes for you to buy something like this. Why don't you come back after buying it?" Yinhao put the dumbbell back and continued, "Didn't you let us move around freely? Then it's not an activity where the activity is, so I just stayed in Soto City for a while." Flanders' face darkened. "There's no need to quibble, you, the one who followed Oscar." Zyro Wu and Zhu Zhuqing wanted to say something, but they were stopped by Yinhao. "Okay, I accept." Then Yinhao prepared to leave without looking back. Flanders looked at Yinhao's back and nodded secretly. Although he was a bit unruly, he was still obedient and could be considered a talent. However, Enning Rongrong on the side gave up and stopped Yinhao in 2 quick steps. Then he looked at Flanders and said, "Why are you punishing him?" "Just because I am his dean and you are nothing." Afterwards, Flender started his best bragging job, a crazy PUA meal to Enning Rongrong, and Enning Rongrong began to doubt himself. If modern entrepreneurs saw this, they would all call them experts. Ning Rongrong suddenly cried, "Wow," turned around and ran towards her dormitory. Seeing this, Flanders couldn't help but give himself a thumbs up secretly, and then said to Dai Mubai, "Go and call Oscar back and tell him that I exempted him from punishment and asked him to comfort Enning Rongrong." Naturally, Yinhao would not let that guy Oscar go, so he spoke directly. "No need, Dean, I'll just go." "You?" Flanders glanced at Yinhao and then nodded. "That's fine, you can go, but hurry up. You can go directly to the Great Soul Arena in a while." Yinhao nodded and agreed. After Yinhao left, he took the remaining people directly to the Great Soul Fighting Arena. Yinhao came to Enning Rongrong's dormitory and saw her squatting in a corner, crying while touching her tears. So he went straight to work and sat next to her. Enning Rongrong raised his head when he heard the noise and saw Yinhao sitting in front of him. He quickly wiped his tears twice and spoke. "What are you doing here?" Yinhao smiled. "Let me see if you will be knocked down by someone else's words." Enning Rongrong stood up and found a seat to sit down. "Now that you've finished reading, can you leave?" Yinhao didn't answer her words, but stood up and said self-consciously, "Did you know, the achievement of every peerless swordsman often does not depend on the sword in his hand?" Enning Rongrong looked at Yinhao strangely. She didn't know what he was talking about. She lived in the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile School since she was a child, and saw Douluo, one of the 2 guardian Douluo of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile School, is one of the best sword souls in the world master, and his reputation did not come from the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, but from the 7 killing sword in his hand, killing him step by step. Yinhao ignored Enning Rongrong's eyes and continued. No one is born a peerless swordsman. No matter how powerful a swordsman is, he climbs up step by step from being weak. What becomes sharper over time is not just the sword in their hands, but also the heart of the sword that gradually becomes stronger. They can fail once, twice, or even 100 times. As long as the sword heart is not broken, they can temper the sword in their hands step by step and become stronger. But if there is no undefeated sword heart, no matter how sharp the sword is in the palm, you will not have the courage to draw the sword. Chapter 49, a hint of impatience, appeared on Enning Rongrong's face. What the hell are you going to say? Yinhao walked up to her unhurriedly and held out his hand to her. I want to say that no strong person will deny himself because of other people's words. Instead of competing with himself here, why wouldn't he be willing to prove to others how wrong their words are? Enning Rongrong looked at Yinhao's outstretched hand. She didn't know why, she put her hand on it unconsciously. Yinhao smiled. Then come with me, they are in the Great Soul Fighting Arena now. Let's go and have a look. To be honest, Yinhao has always felt that Flanders' education was not good. If nothing else, just saying, you are mediocre if you dare not cause trouble, can explain everything. But even so, he still has nothing to say about his treatment of students. A 78-level soul sage can stand on the opposite side of all the titled Douluo in Wuhan City for Tang San. This alone can make countless people feel ashamed, not as good. And Yinhao's attitude towards Flanders is far from disgusting. In addition, the system stipulates that the strength of the transaction partner cannot be higher than 2 soul rings of his own. Now the soul master can trade with the soul sect, but cannot trade with the soul king. So now Yinhao treats Flanders like an ordinary teacher, but if Flanders stands against him for some reason in the future, Yinhao will never show mercy. When they came to the Great Spirit Arena, everyone had formed a team at this time. Zhao Wuji and Zhu Zhuqing were on the team. Dai Mubai and Tang San were on the team. Hongjun stayed there alone with a face full of displeasure. Originally, Dai Mubai planned to form a team with Zhu Zhuqing, but as soon as he said that, Zhu Zhuqing didn't even look at him, and went directly to Zhao Wuji to form a team. This really made Dai Mubai very angry. I even took the initiative to come to you. Didn't I give you face, you ungrateful animal? But considering that this is in the big spirit arena, Dai Mubai held back his anger, and planned to ask her after leaving the spirit arena. When Flanders saw Yinhao and Enning Rongrong arriving at the scene, he also nodded. Although he had a letter from Enning Fengzhai as the Sword of Shangfang, if he really annoyed Enning Rongrong, he might not be able to pull him away. Here comes the titled Douluo of the Kibao Glazed sect. At that time, he would be dumbfounded. The tragic situation of Zhao Wuji was still vivid in his memory. He didn't want to follow in Zhao Wuji's footsteps. Yinhao greeted everyone in the rest area, then turned his head and said to Enning Rongrong, since everyone else has already formed a team, let's form a team as well. As soon as Yinhao's words came out of his mouth, Hongjun, who was standing by the side and was about to approach Yinhao, froze there, who said that the team had already been formed. Isn't there another one here? Also unhappy was Zhao Wuji, who was sitting next to Zhu Zhuqing, but who made her agree to form a team with Zhu Zhuqing. It's hard to say anything else. After hearing Yinhao's words, Enning Rongrong naturally wouldn't object, and agreed directly. Then the two of them went to the front desk to apply to form a team. Hongjun was left standing there looking at Flanders with an unhappy expression. Flanders was also a little embarrassed. He originally planned not to let Enning Rongrong participate first, and then let Hongjun and Yinhao form a team. I didn't expect Yinhao to directly team up with Enning Rongrong, but it doesn't matter. After all, Enning Rongrong is an auxiliary soul master of more than 20 levels. He can't help Yinhao much in the soul fighting of more than 30 levels. Wait for the two of them. After losing, he asked Yinhao to find Hongjun to form a team together. After receiving this result, Hongjun sat at the back of everyone with a face full of displeasure, but he didn't say anything else. When Yinhao came to the front desk, after Yinhao said that he planned to register a 2-person team, the young lady at the front desk said directly, the registration fee is 10 gold coins. If you win a game, you will get a total of 10 gold coins. Yinhao took out 10 gold soul coins and handed them to her, and then tested his soul power under the arrangement of the front desk. After the test, the young lady at the front desk reminded the two of them. I need to remind the two of you that although this lady's level is only over 20, if the two of you form a team, you will participate in the soul fighting at the level of the Soul Master. Yinhao smiled. It's okay, just register for us. Seeing Yinhao's refusal, the lady at the front desk stopped trying to persuade him. Please give your group a name. Yinhao thought for a moment and said, Let's call them Ronghao Group. It's really a useless name, don't blame me. Okay. After registering, Zhao Wu trotted over, took Yinhao's arm and spoke. Brother Hao, my solo soul fight is about to start, you have to watch it. Okay, I'll go right away. I don't, you come with me. Yinhao looked at Zhao Wu helplessly, and then said to Enning Rongrong. Rongrong, let's go back to the rest area first. Enning Rongrong nodded and agreed. In fact, what is there is about to start. Zhao Wu wanted to wait for Yinhao to come before forming a team, but after waiting for more than half an hour without Yinhao's figure, she formed a team with Zhu Zhuqing. Because of this, she wasted time, and her solo spirit fight only started in half an hour. Back in the rest area, Zhao Wu hugged Yinhao's arm and sat beside Zhu Zhuqing, while Enning Rongrong sat on Yinhao's other side. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Zhao Wu, who was hugging Yinhao, but didn't say anything. By the way, Rongrong, can I ask you a favor? Hearing Yinhao's voice, Enning Rongrong looked at him, but nodded directly without hesitation. What are you busy with? Yinhao smiled a little embarrassedly. I want to lend you some money. Enning Rongrong was stunned for a moment, but he immediately reacted. You don't want to take part in the gambling game at the Great Soul Fighting Field, do you? The Great Soul Fighting Arena is very similar to a boxing ring in modern society, and there are also gambling games proposed by the organizer. In the original book, Flanders once won a lot of gold soul coins by relying on the gambling in the Great Soul Fighting Arena. Yinhao nodded. Enning Rongrong waved her hand very generously. No problem, how much do you want to borrow? Yinhao thought for a while. If he gambled too much, it would not only attract the attention of the organizer, but the secret operation was still a trivial matter, and he was afraid that even if he won, he would not be able to get the money out. And it doesn't work if you are too small, if you earn too little. When will you be able to exchange for a pair of kaleidoscopes at the dog system? Moreover, he also has a high-level soul saint like Flanders following him. As long as the amount is not particularly large, the big soul-fighting arena will not choose to do anything dirty. After thinking for a while, Yinhao spoke. Then 100,000. Needless to say, Enning Rongrong is indeed the little princess of the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Ordinary people would be frightened to hear 100,000 gold soul coins and would not be able to take them out. However, Enning Rongrong was just a little surprised and took it from her body. Take out a gold card. Chapter 50, 100,000 golden soul coins. Yinhao took Jinka over and said to Enning Rongrong half-jokingly, You just gave me the money. Are you afraid that I won't be able to pay you back after I lose? After hearing Yinhao's words, Enning Rongrong was not polite. If you don't make it, then don't make it, and then use your whole body to pay off the debt. Hearing this, Yinhao was stunned for a moment. Could this be the legendary flesh payment? Before he said anything, Zhao Wu at the side became upset and secretly pinched Yinhao's arm. Although he didn't use much effort, it still caught Yinhao's sideways glance. Enning Rongrong seemed to feel that what she just said was somewhat misleading, so she continued. I mean, if you haven't made it yet, join our 7 treasure glazed tile sect. Your talent is worth more than 100,000 gold soul coins. Okay, if I lose, then I will lose myself to you. Yinhao said with a smile, then stood up and left his seat, heading to the counter dedicated to betting on winning or losing. There is a booklet on the counter that records the games that have not yet started, which can be browsed freely. Yinhao asked the woman at the counter while flipping through the book. Can we exchange it immediately after the game is completed? The woman also answered very politely Yinhao's question. Yes, sir, but if the amount is too large, we will need time to prepare. There may be a slight delay, but generally it will not exceed 2 hours. Europe. Yinhao looked at the woman at the counter and said, How much does it take to be considered excessive? Yinhao was not the only one participating in the gambling at the counter. There was a bald man on the side who laughed out loud when he heard Yinhao's words. After glancing at Yinhao, he laughed even more happily, as if he was laughing at Yinhao. Ignorance and overestimation. Yinhao didn't care either. If every little person needed his attention, then he wouldn't have to do anything after a day. The woman in front of the counter still kept smiling and did not laugh because of Yinhao's words. Generally, we can pay all expenses below 50 gold soul coins in one lump sum without waiting. In the Douluo Continent, 1 gold soul coin is enough for a family of 3 to cover food and clothing for 3 to 4 months. But the Great Soul Fighting Field can directly say that 50 gold soul coins can be paid in one lump sum. There is no need to wait, which shows that its strength is extraordinary. Yinhao nodded and looked at the booklet in his hand again. There are 3 single-player matches in number 70. Passer A, level 26 Great Soul Master, Martial Soul Pot Lid, versus Passer B, level 27 Great Soul Master, Martial Soul Shovel. The odds for Passerby A are 2, and the odds for Passerby B are 2. Single match no 74 games Luren C, level 35 Soul Master, Wuhan Frying Pan, versus Luren Ding, level 34 Soul Master, Martial Spirit Spoon. Single match number 78 games, Zyro Wu, level 29 Great Soul Master, Martial Soul Softbone Rabbit, versus Qingbao, level 28 Great Soul Master, Martial Soul Iron Horned Ox. Zyro's odds are 2, and Qingbao's odds are 2. Yinhao took out the gold card given by Enning Rongrong before. Hello, this is the 8 singles competition number 70. I'm buying a Great Spirit Master named Zyro Wu, whose martial spirit is Rogu Rabbit. Asked the counter lady. Okay sir, how much do you want to buy it for? 100,000 gold soul coins. Okay. Without any nonsense, the lady at the counter directly took the card from Yinhao's hand. After hearing Yinhao's words, the bald man on the side smiled even more happily. He also bought number 70 for 8 games, but the person who bought it was the exact opposite of Yinhao. It was not just him, but most of the others were like this. Although Zyro Wu's soul power is 1 level higher than Qingbao's, her martial soul is just a weak and soft-bone rabbit. On the contrary, Qingbao's martial soul belongs to the iron-horned ox with a strong martial soul. In this match there is almost no suspense. As a senior gambler, the bald man immediately seized the opportunity and invested half of his worth, 50,000 gold soul coins. Just buy Qingbao and win. While the counter lady was swiping the card and recording, Yinhao continued to flip through the booklet. Number 70, 9 single-player matches, Nana level 48 Soul Sect, Wuhan Tianhu, versus Hu Jun, level 49 Soul Sect, Wuhan Longsword. Tianhu, Nana. The corners of Yinhao's mouth turned up, thinking of a figure who thought he was very smart, but was always played by him. Sir, I have bought it for you. Here is your certificate. A voice brought Yinhao back to reality. Yinhao took the order, thanked him and left directly. The game on the field was still going on, and there were shouts one after another in the audience. Some were cursing, some were shouting happily, but none of this had anything to do with Yinhao. Returning to the rest area, Zyro Wu immediately joined Yinhao when he saw him coming back. Brother Hao, which one did you buy? At the same time, Enning Rongrong, Tang San, Dai Mubai, Ma Hongjun, Flender and almost everyone present cast curious glances. Yinhao didn't hide anything and directly handed the order in his hand to Zyro Wu. Ah, Brother Hao, I win if you bought all the gold soul coins. Zyro Wu glanced at Yinhao in surprise, and her exclamation surprised everyone else on the field. After all, it was gold soul coins, and Yinhao actually bought all of them for Zyro Wu to win. How much trust is this? Yinhao smiled. That's right, I put all my money on you. If you lose, you'll lose me to Rongrong. Although there were some misleading meanings in Yinhao's words, Zyro Wu didn't care about it at this time. She hugged Yinhao and said in a firm tone, Don't worry, Brother Hao, I won't lose. The others all looked away after being fed a mouthful of dog food. Only Zhu Zhuqing frowned when he saw Zyro Wu and Yinhao hugging each other. A strange color flashed in his eyes, that touch of color. The name seems to be jealousy. With the completion of each match in the soul fighting arena, the No 70th match finally came. As everyone's first lesson, and also their first Shrek battle, Dai Mubai and everyone stepped forward to encourage them. Come on Zyro Wu, teach that stupid bull across the street a lesson. This was Enning Rongrong's statement that he was not too concerned about the excitement. Come on. These are the cold words of the little wild cat Zhu Zhuqing. Zyro Wu, it doesn't matter if you lose, be careful not to hurt yourself. This is Tang San's hypocritical statement. In addition, Ma Hongjun, Dai Mubai, and Flanders all stepped forward to say something to Zyro Wu. After all, it was their Shrek's first battle, and no one wanted to lose at the beginning. Zyro Wu waved her hand. Don't worry, everyone, I'm leaving first. Then he turned around and gave Yinhao a hug. Don't forget to come and watch my game, brother Hao. Yinhao stroked Zyro Wu's 2 rabbit ears and said, Don't worry, how could I forget? That's it for today's chapter. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe to Infinite Novel Audio. For more stories, check out my other channel AI Otaku Studio, and I'll see you in the next chapter.